Welcome to Game Changer Weekly, and as you can see, we have a nice full room tonight. So, John, I'll start off with you. How are you doing tonight, John?
Dude, I'm doing fantastic. At the drop of a dime, everyone in here was like, you know what? I'll come on tonight. We wanted to do a fan get-together. We wanted to talk about the important things that go on at GCW and just give our opinions on it. So I'm doing great. B, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Yes, we have a nice full panel tonight. I kind of tweeted it out earlier. This is something since we started the podcast we've been wanting to do for a while, and we did like a little mini one on our first podcast, the Plant Podcast, and now we have a nice full room for the Game Changer Weekly block party here, and we'll go down the line. First up, we have Screwball with us. How you doing, Screwball? Oh, maybe muted first. Or maybe I'm muted.
Oh, he's working on it.
All right. We'll go to Dewey. Then after that, we'll go to Screwball. Dewey, hot dog. How you doing?
What's up? How we doing? I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I was told we're allowed to do crazy stuff tonight. So
yeah, it's a podcast.
Yeah, so I'm gonna eat this pineapple the entire podcast. If that's
Milk that tongue, Dewey.
Oh, we just got raided by Effie. It was our raid.
Effie raid,
guys.
Thank
you, Effie.
What's up, Effie? Next up, we have I'm gonna mess up this name. DeSolmir. How you doing? Oh, DeSolmir.
I'm doing very well. It's nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you too, man.
There's Dewey. I love my hot dog.
Wow.
I love how he did the hot dog too. I was kind of hoping he would be doing that.
That's what you get when you get me on here. You get the gimmick.
That is awesome. That makes it worth it right then and there.
Exactly.
And next up, we have Frank, half man, half hair. How you doing, Frank?
What up, everybody? Shout out to Cowboys. The best 12-man Instagram chat that nobody in here knows fucking existed 12 seconds ago.
Yeah.
And if you did listen to the Plant Podcast, we did have Frank on and a couple other people from that Deathmatch Cowboys.
While I have the mic, I fucking called it last week in the chat, and we will get back to that later.
So I might be hitting the first spot we hit up here. Next up, Joe from Woods Wrestling. How you doing, Joe?
I'm good. Yeah, me and John got acquainted on my show, Steel Steps. We had a GCW show, and we've been hitting it up ever since. So I appreciate you guys having me on.
That's awesome. Yeah, that was one I could not make, unfortunately, because I was finishing up my school year. But yeah, just go check out John's episode with Woods Wrestling. Next up, we have Alan. Search his name on YouTube. How you doing, Alan?
Sup? Good to be here. Happy to be here. Thank you, John, for inviting me. Again, as he said, if I do have a YouTube channel, search it up. Just search my name. Nothing special. Although I need to get back to posting on there a little more consistently outside of the shorts whenever I do entrance videos or record the entrances of people from wrestling shows, because that's what I do.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's have some fun.
All right. Next up, we have Skittle. Little Skittle. How you doing, Little Skittle?
I'm doing good, man. I appreciate you guys having me on here. I've recently befriended John. He's a good buddy of mine. I'm a fan of the show, so it's pretty cool to be on here. I appreciate you guys.
Oh, yes, and we appreciate everyone hopping on here, too. Yeah, we see you guys every time in the chat and everything, so we do appreciate it, and we very much appreciate you hopping on tonight. And next, we have Wrestle Dads. How you doing, Wrestle Dads? Oh, maybe he's muted, too.
He's signing on.
Oh,
or he's not.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I don't think he can hear us.
He'll be with us. He'll be with us shortly.
All right, we'll go back to Screwball. Screwball, we got the mic working now? Oh, maybe.
Just kidding. Hold on.
It could be all
we
right
got you.
With this many people. I don't know. I'm going to have to keep an eye on the mute buttons down here. Okay.
Oh, no, he's still trying.
All right. Well, we have a very packed house tonight. And, yeah, we have a lot of topics we're going to discuss. And we already discussed it pregame before we even hopped on here. So, yeah, John, I know you have a bunch of questions you want to ask here. So, I don't know. You want to start us off or you want someone else to start us off?
I was going to start with my first question, but Frank nailed it right on the head. And I'll just want to start with Frank. What were you talking about when it comes to what you found out? What did you predict?
What did you call in the group chat?
So last week during the pod, I don't know if we're cool enough to call this the pod, but whatever. Fuck it. While I was playing Stat Boy to everybody else's pardon the interruption last week, I made the thought that the homecoming main event was going to be a triple threat consolidation match between Mance, the Deathmatch King / quote unquote authority backed corporate champion, B, the morally correct heel Blake Christian, and the uncrowned people's champion Joey Janela. And that came to fruition in a triple threat ladder match for the consolidation of the GCW title, night 1 at Homecoming.
Yeah, night 1.
That's a night 1 match, boy.
Yeah, and I have thoughts on that. Because if you've been paying attention to Matt Cardona's Twitter, he's been talking about how he's been getting back in the gym and starting to train again as he continues to recover. So, who else thinks that if Mance retains the title in the ladder match, that Matt Cardona raises his hand, and then like Triple H to Randy Orton, he kicks him out and turns on him, leading to night 2's main event, Cardona using his GM status again to put himself in the match against Mance for the title, so he can try to be GCW champion again.
I see Frank's face. Okay, go for it, man. That's what it's all about.
I have thoughts. Okay, so I think
Diesel's right.
It would be. I think that's a very interesting way that they could do this lineup. But my thoughts are
that's what the story is.
If it, yeah, that's where the deathmatch royalty angle ends, because if you pit Cardona versus Mance, you lose Steph as Cardona's goon.
Well, yes, but Matt, because here's the thing.
Cardona's character does not work without a female goon enforcer.
I mean, you have a point, but remember, the whole Broski Jimmy thing, if I remember correctly, is set to go for a year, and that I don't believe will end until what, September or early October.
Well,
because
that started at a Queens show, right?
Well, because that weekend, they were in Hartford on Saturday. Speaking of, hey, GC Dub, come back to Hartford, please. And then because Jimmy was supposed to face somebody else, he ended up facing Sawyer Wreck. Steph came out, helped Jimmy win. Steph and Sawyer fought, and they're, at the afterward. But then the following night was the Cardona versus Jimmy match. I don't remember what weekend that was on.
Rick and Scott.
I don't
Scott
Stoner.
I am the one sober person in this fucking thing.
Yeah, high as a kite right now, my guy.
So
no comment.
So I like your idea, but I think that's months down the line when we constantly see Cardona kind of get at Mance to the point where the crowd is back on Mance's side and they're begging for Mance to be a face again. I don't think that happens this soon.
No,
I think it's a slow build.
I agree. Because here's the thing. Mance is uncontrollable. He's the Southern Psycho for a reason. You can't fucking control him. So he's only working with Deathmatch Royalty, I think, because Steph is there. I think eventually it will come out Steph was the one that made that happen, not Matt. Because Steph and Mance are an IRL relationship. They're together. So
yeah, well, that's evident from the main event of Key Arrival when Steph spears Cole and Cardona's looking like shocked, like what's going on here. So that's definitely a plausible possibility.
Cole getting used as a smoke screen. Cole getting used as a smoke screen for Mance. That was rough. God damn.
They still has the ring though.
Skiddo was pretty upset about that.
All right, now listen. It wasn't a smoke screen. It was the teaser, and we're gonna get it. We gonna get it. Just watch out. Everybody is talking about Blake and Mance and Joey and Matt Cardona. Cole Radrick's got that brass ring around his damn neck.
That's right.
And he's gonna cash it in.
So
That's what the
here's my
stories are.
here's my thing to that. If Joey Janela is the proverbial Daniel Bryan, who Matt Cardona as Triple H keeps screwing over, therefore making Mance as Randy Orton, what does that make Cole Radrick? Because I don't see Matt allowing that.
Well, there's no
No
guarantee
offense.
Cole
Don't get me
even
wrong.
goes for the
I'd
title.
love to see Cole challenge for the world title.
I
I'd love to
agree.
see him and Alec win the tag titles too.
I
agree
think
with
that
Steve all there. Yep.
I think that Cole's going to cash in for the belts, for the tag belts. I don't think he's going to cash in for the world
absolutely.
I don't
Same.
think he's even going to go for a title. I think he's going to go for a dream match.
Well,
like Jimmy Lloyd
I
did
didn't
in
think about
2019.
that because, I didn't really think about that.
So who's the
Joe.
dream match that you would think of then?
I don't know. Like
Alright.
it could be like literally anything. It could be someone from Japan that he wants to wrestle. It could be somewhat a luchador that, like I generally don't know what it is, but I do think it's going to be whatever it is going to be the impetus for the Garbage Daddy split. I think someone's going heel out of that.
Alec,
Nah,
that's
dude,
what I
no
was
way.
thinking too. Alec gets jealous that
Yeah,
Cole
maybe Alex
didn't use it.
disappointed that he doesn't go for the tag titles. He does something else with it, and that pisses Alec off. And Alec's a more natural heel anyway.
I agree there.
Oh God, I'm not sure if I'm ready to see Alec as a heel. You have to understand, Alec is my #1 favorite independent wrestler.
you haven't been
he's
watching long
fine.
enough.
Yeah,
You haven't
yeah.
seen.
Alex
So-
has been a heel in the past. When he first came
Yes.
into GCW, they tried to present him as a
I
heel.
think Alec is
Yeah,
best
so
as heel.
See, okay,
Yep.
but like,
Yeah,
I
and
only
LA
saw
still
him
kinda
in
hates him,
GCW
if you
last
haven't
year.
noticed.
I only saw
LA
him
only
in
seen him, like,
independent
once,
last
though.
year.
Say that
So,
again,
I
LA.
am learning.
What about
You
LA?
know?
Alex only been to
Alex
LA,
still
I
kind
think,
of rubs
once.
LA the wrong way if you kind of notice the crowd reactions.
He's from Boston, though, too.
He's
so
Boston.
that's probably a big
Yeah.
thing.
And
That East Coast
he was a
attitude.
heel- He was a heel.
Yeah.
He was a heel in
Well-
the beginning, and then he went the way of the cool heel that went face.
because he was so fucking over.
Yeah, plus the Northeast just loves him. So,
Yeah.
but everywhere else, I don't think that's quite translated enough. And I think there's money in a heel Alec across the board. I think.
I can agree with that. He definitely is over in the Northeast. He's the Northeast beast.
Yes. Yeah.
Like it's actually kind of funny
I mean-
watching his early Limitless work, where he was still a heel in the Northeast, and he kind of like earned their respect, and then now that's kind of translated to most of like the Indies, but LA still kind of they're
I
still
think
kind of
it's
feeling as a heel.
like because of the Boston Celtics thing. Because
Yeah.
Yep.
for real, it's weird.
There you
about
go.
that, yeah.
Congrats
I've
to
seen him
Celtics fans.
I've seen him get good reactions at West Coast Pro in
go.
the Bay, which is Northern California.
Yeah, that's almost a completely different state.
Yes,
Yes.
that is a different state. No, I live
All
in
right.
Ohio, and Michigan fans. It's really ignorant sometimes.
Where you at roughly, Dezo? Because I'm originally from Canton.
I'm near Cleveland.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. I'm Northeast Ohio, so I just had to ask. It kind of.
And see, another reason too, I'll go back off LA, kind of not accepting Alec, is I think the LA crowd though has a special place for like the GCW / originals and also like the deathmatch people, because like someone like Alec who doesn't do deathmatch, someone like Jordan who doesn't really do deathmatch either, like they kind of always get booed in
Yes,
LA.
the Jordan
kinda no
versus
matter
Jordan
what.
match.
No, Jordan
Yeah.
did the what was it? The one with Atticus, and I thought
yeah,
that was
the
pretty
no rope.
good.
I thought that would kind of help
pretty
him get some credibility with LA fans with the deathmatch stuff, but apparently that didn't quite
I'm
work
sure
out.
Alec could do it. I'm sure he could. I mean, him and versus Cruel Heavy Lies the Crown wasn't a death match per se, but he freaking Damien got lit on fire. Like, come on now.
Yeah, a lot of fire spots
So.
lately. Yes, I've noticed.
I mean,
Wrestle
So this
Dad,
is-
do we got
okay.
the mic working now?
Yeah. How you doing, John?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Sorry.
there you
Like,
go.
Welcome
my
to the party,
computer,
brother.
For some reason, I could not hear it.
I had to switch my headset. Like I had to just get a different headset. Luckily, I had spares
Yeah.
because of my job.
All right.
no,
So I'm gonna jump into this first question. Oh, I'm sorry, John. Go for it, brother.
Yeah, no, sorry. My equipment was working. It's just I think my internet service being in the basement tonight, just with everybody here, it just couldn't keep up. My phone seems to be working, so. If you can hear me, good. I'm here.
Oh yeah, man,
Yeah.
you're doing good now. All right, so I just want to go right for the dagger, the terminal. I want to talk about the goods and the bads. I really want to hear from those who've been there live first, and I know that covers a lot.
I'm about to say, I think that's all of them.
Yep. Then I'm
Whoever wants to go
I
first.
haven't.
I do want to hear goods and bads though, because I like critiques, and also I feel like since it's going public, there's going to be a lot of people that may agree with you, and maybe some of what you're saying needs to be said and heard. So, whoever would like to go first, by all means.
I guess I will start. So, as much as I love the terminal definitely does have some cons to it, as much as it has pros. One being, it's very spacious. It's big. It's roomy, but the con to that is it gets hot really quick with all the bodies that pile in. And they never turn the giant ceiling fans on. From what I noticed last show, and we need them son of a bitches on. Because somebody like me will overheat.
Yes.
I feel like it's like more hot when it's like packed in like less space. But yeah, the carousel room used to like be stuffed for like weekends like homecoming and fight club. And I used to I still do, but I used to go to a lot of shows with my grandfather, and he's on a handicap scooter. So the terminal is definitely better for him in terms of the more space. But also at the same time, it's like the carousel room was like smaller and the ceiling was a lot closer, and the acoustics in there were like a lot louder, and like just the energy of the shows were a lot
roar
higher.
was just so much different in the carousel
Yeah.
room. The terminal.
The energy was at a whole different level in the carousel room, and it's like, Frank, you can say.
Oh no! Finish your thought. I'll
No
yeah, I'll go
matter,
after
like,
Frank.
I've seen some great shows in the terminal. I've seen some great shows in the carousel room, just because it's like in AC they go all out. I honestly think the big difference from room to room is just the terminal is a lot bigger, and there are advantages to that, like more space for like more people, more stuff, and like more cool stuff, like the Ghostbusters car they brought in last year, or like
The scaffold.
War games.
war games, like stuff like that. Absolutely. But
Charles Mason getting hung from a scissor lift.
yeah, like stuff like
I
that.
feet from that. It was crazy.
Stuff like
Run
that's
that by
really
me
cool.
again.
But,
He got Big Boss Man.
He got Big Boss Man off a scissor truck.
I just my
That Pharaoh.
favorite wrestling rooms are when they're stuffed wall to wall and the ceilings are like not that high, because the like the that's where the sound is the best, and that's how the carousel room used to be. And if to do that in the terminal, it would just like you'd have to like have like 2,000 fans in there.
Exactly. So I think this warrants a quick explanation for those who have no idea what we're talking about when it comes to carousel room versus terminal. So for the purposes of archival footage, for anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, the two rooms at the Showboat in Atlantic City, which is a former casino, were the carousel room, which was originally way back in the day a slot machine floor with that nice circus tent thing. After they lost their casino license, they turned that into an event space / ballroom type thing. That was GCW's home. That had a very nice aesthetic with the circus tent, carousel tent roof on it. It looks great. The wood paneling, it actually had, there were more than 2 colors on the walls. It was interesting.
I'm trying to think of like the show span from the carousel room to the terminal. What
they
was
said
it?
it could.
TOS 4. Oh,
Yeah,
was
they
it?
said it
They
couldn't be
said it
done.
couldn't be done.
They said it couldn't be
So
done.
like
Was the first one.
TOS.
No, don't tell me what to do. March 2022.
Wow.
Drew's last death match.
I just noticed like
I have that
bookending
poster on my
with
wall.
their show
I
names.
knew that. But there's other things too. So the carousel room was a room in the meat and potatoes, right in the middle of the lobby of the Showboat. The terminal is exactly what it says on the tin. It's the bottom floor of the parking garage that was garage epoxied over. That used to be where the grandmas came in on their penny buses from the city and got dropped off to go play slots all day and drive back home to the city.
It's a literal bus terminal.
It's a literal bus terminal. It's a parking garage. It's plain white walls. It's meant to be a flexible event space. It has no personality by design. It has no personality. It's meant to be a big empty box for people to do like mini Comic Cons or whatever. So the one positive you do have from that is that if you're driving in and you're parking there, which nobody should ever do because parking's fucking expensive at the showboat, park at the ocean for Christ's sakes. But it's right there. You take an elevator down from the parking garage and you're right in the building for wrestling. The other thing is that something that I've never heard anybody else mention before. The gauntlet ramp in the terminal is absolute dog shit compared to the walk in the carousel room. If I can point to one video, and it's Matt Tremont TOS 7 finals walking out like a bloody fucking mess, and there's people screaming, glumping onto him, singing Separate Ways in the carousel room. When you have that 100 feet from the curtain to the ring, it was such a vibe. But now in the terminal, you have 5 feet from the curtain to the last row, and then you bottleneck through the 2-seat wide section, and you get to the ring. There's no aura in the entrances in the terminal compared to
there's no mosh pit that there was in the carousel.
There's no gauge mosh pit. Yeah,
smart.
And it also feels like the crowds get a little lost in that terminal. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
this past
it's the standing room only back the room crowd hangs off camera now.
Yeah,
where they used to hang out on the gauntlet of the ramp.
Yeah,
in that corner, and they were always on camera. Now they're not. They're always either behind hard cam or to the side of hard cam over by the gimmick tables, and you just don't see that energy anymore.
Yeah, because like you said, like at the carousel room, when you looked at that on TV and like watching the streams back, it's like they can't fit another body in there. When you're watching it at the terminal now, it's like, wow, there's a lot of empty space in that arena, because I don't think people realize the difference in sizes. And I don't know if it's maybe the way where the ring is set up at in the terminal, where how it's set all the way far. It seems like far in the back, but there's so much more to that terminal room that is blocked off. It just, the setup to me is a little wonky.
The terminal is a much longer room.
Yeah.
Versus the carousel room was a dead square.
Yeah.
I also would like to point out that the carousel room was not small by any means.
No. I mean, now look what they have. They have a full mini golf.
Gigantic.
Yeah.
Mini golf, roller rink, 2 pool tables, and an air hockey table.
And they had bumper cars there at one point.
And
a Dance Dance Revolution game.
They got a Pac-Man statue in there, just like standing on top of Matt Tremont's dried blood. I'm gonna go kick the Pac-Man.
Oh, Cassidy Haynes jumped in. He said, yeah, I'm the only one of the ones that hang by the entrance. I usually find Dewey, though, and say, what's up? See you in August, brother.
What up, Cassidy?
Cass, if you want to, feel free to jump in, man. We still have a spot or two here. I got them reserved just in case some people want to pop in.
So I know you asked about the pros and cons of terminal versus carousel room. So people who have been to both, what's the better room for GCW? I mean, I know we can never go back to carousel at this point, but perfect world, where does GCW run?
Vibes alone, carousel room just has
carousel room alone.
Yeah, this is gonna be unanimous carousel room. Just even though I haven't been there, it's like watching the shows. It's like 2 different shows.
Yeah.
I honestly really enjoyed. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut off anybody. I really enjoyed the GCW Atlantic City shows that are outdoors.
Yes, those are so fucking good.
Yeah.
I've got to be one of many that love when a show starts in the sun daytime, and then it starts to go to evening, and then their main events like at night, and it's a whole other vibe.
Yeah, I love
WrestleMania 31. I was at that show, and that was exactly what happened.
Cassidy, once again, I'll put him back on here. Why is it so hot in the terminal in Caps?
Oh yeah,
because I'm in there. That's why.
No air conditioning.
No, because Dewey the hot dog is in there. That's why.
Absolutely.
So on Patreon, on the official GCW podcast that Brett Lauderdale runs over there, he'd mentioned that in the terminal there were a couple other things that people don't mention that were small hindrances, like there's no dedicated audio and video equipment at the terminal. And then, again, the AC, things like that kind of matter. So my curiosity to anybody is, since we're going to Asbury Park and several other places, is there a chance we're going to find a new spot in the Jersey area?
Well, I was a little confused with the terminal, because if I'm not mistaken, the Showboat has a whole House of Blues venue up on the 2nd floor that is currently unused, which I think
ICW ran there a couple years ago.
Yeah, such a badass location with that balcony up top. Like that to me, I don't understand.
I was there for that. It was pretty cool to see.
I can hazard a guess to why they don't use that space is because the second floor where the old House of Blues is in the showboat is essentially abandoned. Like it is very back up there. There's no reason for people to go to the second floor because that's where the buffet is. If you didn't know the showboat had a buffet, yeah, they do, and it's just been closed.
Also, I don't think that ring crew wants to get all that stuff up the second floor.
Exactly.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, no.
Them boards are long.
Yeah. Big Vin can drive his ring truck right up inside the terminal, and they used to just back it up to the back door of the carousel room.
Wow.
So I can sort of speak to other venues that they might, dream venues in Atlantic City, and not in Atlantic City. They could go to a different casino. I mean, imagine having GCW at Caesar's Palace and running a Roman themed show, or whatever.
That would on the table for Vegas.
Imagine Matt Cardona, Jimmy Lebroski, Jimmy and Steph coming out like Bobby Heenan,
but
WrestleMania.
The other thing, like we're going back to Asbury Park, which was the first place that I saw GCW in the House of Independence. There's Boardwalk Hall in Asbury Park, which ECW did run a few times back in the day.
I'm a colored guy.
I also agree with this. I also wish there was some more.
Is such a drag.
White is such a boring color.
They try their best with the banners and stuff like that.
There's a lot of effort. Like
the banners do help a lot.
From the first show to now, they've definitely made some strides in getting stuff that isn't just the white up there. But yeah,
the banners
can't replace the carousel room in that regard.
No, and like I said, you're going from literal extremes with the carousel tent roof to a plain white box that used to be a parking garage.
Yeah,
they're like you cannot be any further apart.
Right. The banners are really cool, and I think they add color to the carousel room. But I could never see GCW leaving the showboat, and I definitely think they're going to start expanding through New Jersey more. But I could never see them leaving the showboat or even running like Caesar's Palace, because I don't think any of them fancy casinos want light tubes.
Yeah,
Would they? I was gonna ask, does the Mecca allow for death matches there?
Nope.
There's
a no glass policy at the Mecca.
And no fire.
This
no
is the
fire
same as the UCC.
Let's stop talking about fire. I was at a show this weekend and there was a fire spot. It was
North Korea Assassin.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah, we had a sick light tube fire spot in Vegas Double or Nothing weekend. I'm not talking about Jack Perry. I'm talking about Lazarus and Nathan Bowery.
Oh hell yeah!
The North Korean assassin spot is that's some good work. You gotta try to get that hurt.
Yeah,
that is some primo. Like if that spot did not happen in a literal backyard, I don't think that spot could have gotten any worse.
And the guy that was doing it, Shadow WX, that's a spot that he's done for 25 years.
Yeah,
that's all North Korean Assassin's property. That's all him.
So I was there helping out that show, and Shadow came out afterwards and was like, "I'm sorry, just saying sorry, didn't know what happened." But yeah, that was bad. But getting back to the question, we also had GCW run at the Harris in Philly with Really Chester, and I'm wondering if we see maybe that a little more. I know you can't really do deathmatch shows in Philly and PA, but hardcore, you can still see hardcore match about the deathmatch. Yeah, deathmatch genre really, but I would like to see that more.
I don't see them leaving Jersey as a home base.
No.
Specifically for the deathmatch laws, because everybody joked about how the well-dressed doctor was right there at ringside in Harrah's, and as he was for Collective.
Oh yeah, and I was right behind the Collective all weekend.
And Jersey, it's literally, is there a nurse on scene? Even better. Like the bare minimum is
even better. One of the wrestlers, is a nurse. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the the joke from Hamilton. Everything's legal in New Jersey. Yeah, it's true. And that's why. And that's why all the deathmatch tournaments are in Jersey now.
Vegas is pretty much it for the West Coast if they would get everything
And that
together.
the problem
to
with
come here.
Vegas is you got to find a venue that'll do it that can
Is
hold
Vegas a
decent
licensing?
amount.
Is Nevada a licensing state?
So the commission does not give a crap because UFC is their cash cow. So
Okay.
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
need a contract.
I'm speaking in a Jersey to New York City perspective where everybody has to be licensed and this, that, and the third thing.
It's pretty chill here. Pretty
The only
chill here when
place
it
I
comes
can
to
see
all
that-
that.
But what happened with PA though? Because I mean, you look at like past companies who've made their dollar in the arena and stuff like that. Like, was deathmatch 1 point allowed in Pennsylvania, and then they kind of pulled that back, or?
So yeah, CCW kind of ruined that. They did some really crazy shit in the ECW arena, like they hung Zandig from meat hooks and like all sorts of really crazy stuff.
Average Tuesday night type stuff.
Pulling
Pulling
the meat hooks out.
Yeah, old school CCW was a different animal. They kind of ruined deathmatch for all of Pennsylvania.
That's a good
Bro,
way.
I mean, states are gonna. It's gonna get to a point where, with how expensive everything is, and just states are just gonna either outlaw it or everything's just gonna get made too expensive to do
what no
them
one's really
anymore.
talking about is there's already a light tube shortage, and it's just going to get worse and worse as they stop making them. Period. So eventually, everywhere is going to be glass free or at least light tube free.
Let's bring back the plastic bins. I'm all
Those
for the
plastic-
plastic bins.
I totally agree. Sorry, not to cut off someone. I totally agree that there's a light tube shortage, but I don't see them like truly going away from death matches for like at least 40 years.
They'll find other ways to do glass, like more tempered shower doors.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
I can also see that for some purpose they're going to do there's going to be some product made or found or sourced somehow that will simulate light tubes enough that they get that's a good point too. That shape that's still glass. Like if it's not,
just make cylinders out of like sugar glass or whatever.
That's the only reason I said bins. Those bins that they use.
You just have to get more innovative.
When did the light tube shortage start? Why?
With
COVID.
2 years, 3.
No, it kind of goes back before COVID. It's just they're like the whole rules with like
energy
LED laws.
Yeah, they're doing more efficient ways of like lighting up rooms, and they're just not making light tubes anymore because of that, or at least not as many.
I wonder if it would be cool. GCW maybe did like a $5 to $10 discount on a seat if you brought some tubes, and I know that's not a big deal, but that would incentivize even. Of
course, if you've seen what tubes cost,
everybody wins.
I can't imagine too many people would be doing it.
Right. I know. It's a bullshit thing.
I went to a Habitat for Humanity this lovely afternoon, and I got 10 tubes for $10.
No
kidding. I gotta hit one near. There's one near me.
I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, if you got a Habitat for Humanity near you,
that's where I grabbed mine.
A funny story. Chicago, when I went to GCW for like the Art of War games, the first one. Like as I was heading out to the show, it's like I saw they had a trash can. There were like a few tubes in there. I was like half thinking maybe I should just grab them and bring them to the show, but
do it.
They probably weren't the correct size. So you also have to make sure you get 12s as well. They don't want T8 because they're the awkward angles that they break in.
I went into a Habitat of Humanity this weekend looking for some tubes for H2O, and I went up to this kid that worked there and I'm like, "Hey man, do you guys have any fluorescent T12 light bulbs?" And he looked at me like I said something in Japanese.
Yeah, that's what you gotta talk to management about. The kid at the front.
He's gonna find the lighting section. That's all I did.
But
they were right there.
Yeah, you mentioned like H2O and stuff like that, and talking about deathmatch getting away from light tube. That's a prime example this weekend of you can still do death matches without predominantly relying on light tubes, because they did a great job of putting on a show where I think they had like maybe 2 or 3 light tubes total, but it was still a good show.
I mean, look at ICW NHB when they went to Boston. It was one of their last shows before this hiatus that they've been on. I was there, and first of all, that was my first time seeing glass using a match. They used it in the main event for the American, which was Otis Kogar versus Killdozer for the American Deathmatch title, which was fucking insane.
That was a good match.
But like the whole freaking night, it's like you had like a bunch of different weapons here and there. No light tubes because Massachusetts. But it was still a shitload of fun, and it's like that's for however many deathmatch promotions there are left, or promotions that do them. You're gonna have to get extremely innovative, and I think that with a lot of the wrestlers that are still doing it, I mean, because let's be real, guys like Tremont and whatnot, they will retire eventually. They'll be, I mean, Atticus has said he's only got, I think, a couple more in it, and then he's done.
The deathmatch bubble is a real thing, and I think there's a huge.
And a lot of the younger talent doesn't. I don't want to say doesn't want to do it, but
They have no incentive to do it.
They also don't want to subject themselves to it all the time. You don't have people that are doing death matches all the time anymore. The only ones that are really left that do that are guys like Tremont and Gage, and even then, Gage. When was the last time he was in a true death match?
2 weeks ago with Orin.
Aside from that,
outside of Orin is what you're saying there. Outside of Orin, it has been a little bit for sure. Yeah,
but I wanted to say he's older and he's busted his ass for so long, so you have to think he's kind of like he's gonna still go full speed, but he's also got to tone it down a bit. I mean,
I think you had a good point though with like people like the wrestlers have to be more innovative because like one of the like a good death match that once again didn't have any light tubes. I go to Hunter Freeman, Mance Warner that they had in LA. Like that was a bloodbath and they went all over the place. You could do like make it look like a death match without having. Yeah, like I agree with you, Al. You just have to make it more creative. I think that's what we're kind of like, I even get stuck with it. Like, oh, it's not a death match because it didn't have light tubes, but then like we miss out on all the other crazy shit. But not a lot of people are doing a lot of crazy shit without the light tubes. And that's kind of like, I think what's hurting it right now is there's a lack of like, as you say, creativity for more wrestlers to get violent and do crazy shit without light tubes.
I was just going to say, Eric Ryan had a thing. He hasn't done one since Toshiyuki Sakuda last year. He would do the clay pottery shards.
Oh yes, the terracotta.
And I was talking about that in his chat, and my thing is like he doesn't do them because he probably ran out of people who like want to willingly do that.
Yeah, it's a willingness to do it. It's the expenses towards it. The amount of shit it does to your body. I mean,
So I wanted to. Sorry, bud. I was gonna try to.
No, you're fine.
People are starting to roll in here, so I wanted to get on a question that's been somewhat controversial. It's something we talk about every now and then. The situation with the Extreme title and the Ultraviolet title. Given the fact that right now, so I wanted to talk about the
25-pound Extreme title.
How long is this podcast? 3 hours? 4 hours?
We have time.
This is gonna get fun.
So here's what's going on with the Extreme title. Maki won that title March 9th, 2024. She defended it once in LA. That was on the 420 show versus Sandra Moon. Since then, we haven't seen a title defense. So we've had one title defense. Then I'm going to go ahead here and go over to Rina Yamashita. She has defended that title twice this year, once on the 12th of January and then so April 6th. Against Billy Dixon, which I don't really feel, and I think Brant also said was not much of a real ultra-violent match. That was Big Gabe.
Was that Big Gabe?
It was very. I was there for that. It was a very hardcore match.
Yeah, it was a hardcore match, but not a death match.
So my question is, between both belts, there's only been two from Rina and one title defense from Maki. Should those titles possibly be combined into one ultra-violent title? Yeah. We'll start there. And then the next question is, where and who should the belt be on? Because they're not being defended.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You have both belts on international talent. And we all know visas can be a pain in the ass.
You live by the sword and you die by the sword when you have internationals like that.
Exactly. And don't get me wrong, Rina,
pardon the pun. I did not mean that pun, by the way.
They get going. They're perfect to defend the titles if you can get them going, but they have to be in the States long enough or be allowed to defend the titles while they're in Japan. But the promotions that they work with over there, I don't think want to do that. But I don't know enough.
I think if visas are truly a problem for Rena, who I think deserves a true defense to drop the belt.
I was going to say Rena
rather than being stripped like Blake was. I think that she gets a true, loss to end her reign on the Japan tour.
Yeah,
if there's honestly visa issues with her.
I wouldn't even mind seeing titles change. Like if she was defending it in Freedoms or wherever she's at, like I wouldn't even mind seeing a title change happen there. And then like that,
not even on GCW, but on Freedoms itself. That would be a good talk about the
John over at WrestleDad. I have to get you in here somewhere, man. You're a fantastic listener. Jump in here. What are your thoughts on all this situation going on?
Yeah, piggyback off of Alan. Like I like the idea of putting it on like a local talent, at least somebody inside the states that can defend the title on a regular basis. I like the idea of combining it to just one title because I kind of forgot about those titles till you brought it up because they haven't been defended in about 2 or 3 months, like you said. So it's so let's get, if they're gonna be in the business, let's get them rolling. Like anyway,
I was gonna say my thing with Rena is like she's had 18 defenses, and before she like took this hiatus from the States, like there was she'd been built up to where like nobody was going to beat her. Like the closest one was what was it? It was Masha when they were over in Tokyo last year. But there's the way that they had built her up previous, to her hiatus. She absolutely has to lose the belt and not just be stripped.
So here's the thing.
I gotta throw a grenade in here.
Sorry. Who's grenading? Who grenaded?
Brandon Kirk's a good one.
Put it on Brandon Kirk.
Oh yeah, Kirk, I could see that. So here's my hot take for that. Unify the belt. So have Rena and Maki have a match, unify the belts. Rena wins. Sorry, Maki. Now the question is who beats Rena? Hot take, Charles Mason. That sadistic bastard. Give it to him. Because look at what he's doing right now with House of Glory. Got the Cold-Blooded Killers group, which they wouldn't, he has that.
Mason
he has his
too,
group in GCW with Holiday and Pero. We know what Mason is. Which, by the way, what the fuck happened between him and Cole? Where did that go? Because that
it just went away. Yeah,
but then again, he sort of wrote himself off. So
someone asked if Mason
you said something. Hold on, guys.
We gotta get the man in here.
We have to talk.
Okay, hold on here.
We have one. Is there one person that wants to drop just for a minute? Because we have
the man himself here.
Lauderdale's in.
Oh,
drop just for a second.
We gotta drop one.
One for a second.
I will tribute.
Dewey, write your question.
I will tribute for Brett Lauderdale.
Godspeed, Hot Dog Man.
Hey, stay in chat, Dewey. We'll get you right back in.
I volunteer tribute. Yeah, let's do it.
All right,
I'll be watching.
See you on the other side, brother.
I was gonna lobby myself, so.
All righty. Well.
Welcome, Brett.
Welcome, Brett.
Hello.
Hey, Brett.
So we were talking about the GCW Extreme title and the Ultraviolent title, and sorry, I had to turn my mic up there. And we've talked about how it's such a controversial thing. We've got two different titles. They seem to somewhat overlap, and I don't know. It's just been years that everybody's been talking about it. So we were kind of curious about the future of those titles. Is that going to be something we learn more about in Japan?
Sure. Also, this is pretty sick. There's a lot of people here. So, this is cool. Good job on that.
Almost 600. Thank you so much, Brett.
Yeah. So the Extreme title was kind of never really meant to be like a serious, like every show championship. It goes back before, this current day GCW. I'm trying to think of what the right word is, but it predates what I refer to as the modern day GCW. So it was kind of a holdover, almost as like a joke, like a convenient joke. And then it did kind of end up on serious hands. PCO was the champ, and it did become a real thing, but then PCO left us he left us and never had a chance to lose the title. So it kind of went back, reverted to its old status as, that sort of title that the accidental title, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Like your 24/7 title, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, no, I wouldn't say it's that bad, but
it's definitely a title for title situations that don't need the gravitas of a title situation.
I'm trying to see. I can't hear too good, but I think my phone is just being weird. But I think that sometimes I forget that there are so many people that actually do like follow the Extreme title and actually like want to see it like
Well, this is the coolest looking title in GCW, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right, but I guess it's just like one of those things where it's like
There was a huge pop when it came back.
Yeah, dude. Huge pop.
Yeah. But as for like, I was listening a little bit, when you were talking about how, they're both of them, both the Extreme title and the UV title, they're kind of stuck overseas. And of course, in Rena's case, we expected in her visa renewal, but she's not gone. She's going to be back at some point, hopefully sooner than later, and she'll be right back to defending it, as often as it makes sense. But like, I don't feel like in a situation like this, somebody who's as good as Rena and as good a champion as she's been, as a champion as she's been, and a fighting champion like she's been, like, I feel it's too significant to just take the title off her, or to just say, we have to find a way to get it off her just because she's going to be gone for a few months, like, I think we can wait if we have to.
Yeah.
Is there another gentleman who wants to step out just for a couple minutes? Because now Emil has just entered the chat. Is there anyone?
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
Go ahead, Emil. Take my spot.
Are you okay, John? And then stay in chat, and once anyone leaves, then we'll jump you back in. Is that cool?
Yeah,
We'll get you guys back
when
in
I come
after we
back, call me Chip, please, because
That's what I was saying.
I don't go by my government name.
Ah, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I forgot Feds were
You're
listening,
calling
brother.
me John, and I'm like, who the hell is he talking to?
I forget that wall. All right, man. I'll be right back to you. Take care.
So, Brett, I had a question regarding the belts being overseas, like Maki and Rena. Is there any chance that they defend the belts over there, and we could get some sort of footage or even clips of the title defenses out there? Could that be something that keeps the belt more active in our universe?
I think Rena has defended the belt in Japan on other cards.
I know before,
Maki wears hers outdoor matches, at least. I know that much. Like, you see pictures of her wearing the title belt.
Yeah, I have
during
seen
her
her like in
intros and stuff.
DDT wearing the title.
No, and that's awesome. I didn't know like if there's anything like blocking from actual defenses and also being put on GCW programming somehow, some way. Nope, I think we lost. Kind of frozen.
Yeah. So
Hear you a little bit.
There we go.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah, I just put my Wi-Fi on.
There we go.
And he's muted.
Either you're muted or the audio's fucky.
Yeah.
It could also be
might
his
be the
connection, too.
Yeah.
Connection.
Am I here?
You're here.
we
Emil.
I hear you, Emil.
We can hear you.
You might need to turn your shit up.
Yeah, turn up a
What's
little,
that?
Emil, and you'll be good. Turn up your volume if you
My
can,
leg's falling asleep.
or I'll turn it up if I can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
meanwhile,
I don't
Brett's
know.
frozen.
I'm on my headphones with the Bluetooth on, so
Well, thank you for coming on, Em. We appreciate it, man.
yeah, man.
Brett's
Yeah.
back.
Here we go. Brett's back.
Okay.
All right, now you can hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Sir.
Okay. All right. I switched to, I turned my Wi-Fi on. So it does get a little complicated sometimes, like with Rena or whoever, defending or not defending, getting footage of them defending. So, like for instance, you know, if or when Rena would defend the title in Freedoms, or well, yeah, just as an example, like in Freedoms doesn't own or doesn't film and broadcast their own events. So like most of them go through Samurai TV. So like Freedoms doesn't even own it. So it becomes a whole process. Like if we want to get that footage, I don't go through Freedoms. I have to go through Samurai TV to get it. And it's like a whole thing, and it's delayed, and like they don't feel an urgency on it. And then it's like, do they want money? And then it's like, how much money is this worth just to stream it on what, YouTube or something? Right. You know, there's a fine line where it's like, you know, we can just report it happened, or if you care enough, track it down on Samurai TV, you know? And it's not to say it's that they're not all important. It's just, it's a lot of work, you know.
One match,
Yeah, and I don't even, you know what I mean? And
the title's not changing or anything, and it's just a match,
Right.
Yeah.
And as somebody who's you know, worked in, you know, been working in Japan and with Japanese companies for several years now, I can tell you it's never easy. It's never as easy as it should be.
And also Samurai TV in particular. I recall when we were there in October, and I was saying to one of the cameramen, like, "Oh, Samurai TV, I used to watch your stuff, like tape trading, you know, in very, you know, whatever terms I use," and he was like, "Oh, like he got a weird face and like looked at me like I was like a bad guy for bootlegging Samurai TV stuff in the United States."
Oh, it's just like New Japan and their copyright claims.
Yeah, dude, like they don't play. Like I was just like, I was just trying to like, you know, be like, "Oh, I used to watch Samurai. I used to watch Samurai TV news," and then he was like, "How did you see that?" And I'm like, "Whoa,
the internet exists."
Damn, dude.
They're trying to arrest you for piracy 10 years after the fact.
Yeah.
They can too.
I know, it's bad. I just immediately stopped talking. I was like, "Oh,
yeah, it's like you don't want to out your sources."
Don't sell no one from Samurai's TV one of your DVD packs.
Sorry, you guys are so like up in arms about me watching episodes of Samurai TV news from 1998 that I found on the torrent. like, fuck, like my bad.
Brett, so we were talking about the terminal earlier. I know that's a lovely subject that, you know, you really like to talk about a lot from the fan side of things. We were talking about different things about the terminal that fans have to, you know, positive or negative aspects. There was talks earlier about the lighting. I don't know how much you heard or didn't hear before, but we were talking about how it's, you know, a basic long white box, and it is exactly that, a terminal, and it takes a lot to bring color and decoration to a place like that. And we were just talking about how it's affected the overall show and feel, especially since we were talking about how a room like that can sometimes swallow even a large crowd and make them look smaller than they really are. And sometimes that's not fair to TV, you know, because a full room can look like this at one area, and, you know. So I just wanted to talk to you about that a little bit, because you'd mentioned how there are a couple things at the terminal that are kind of hang-ups, like no dedicated audio or video equipment, things like that. How are you doing over at the terminal so far? Are you finally getting comfortable there? And
I think that, yeah, I think we're like starting to figure it out, but it is very challenging. And I mean, yeah, it is not as comfortable, and will never be as comfortable as the carousel room was. And unfortunately, there's just nothing we can do about that. You know, that's something that's out of our hands. But I mean, we've tried our best to make the terminal feel, you know, a little cozier or more intimate, or whatever the right word is, and make it feel like more than a bus station with white walls on all sides. So it's just a big cavernous space, and it's hard to do that. But we're trying. You notice, like, if you're paying close attention, every time we're there, we kind of add something new or change something up a little bit to try to make it the fan experience a little better. But we haven't mastered it yet, but we're trying.
The mini-trons at TOS.
Yes, the Trons, the
Great.
GCW Trons.
Yes, the Trons that were
Great.
also in the UCC this last time.
It matters. It really does matter, and I feel like it separates your product from the average product that just streams on YouTube or on another market or another competitors.
Yeah. But we have to do. It's all this stuff costs money, and we don't have unlimited resources, so we just have to do it one piece at a time. We can't turn the bus terminal into Madison Square Garden overnight. So but we're gonna do our best to just keep trying to make it more enjoyable.
Would I be a bad guy if I came out and said that I prefer the terminal to the carousel room?
I like.
Hold on. There's room for growth. There's room for growth.
Before we
Let
kill
him speak.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
All right, so look, me, I'm a minimalist at heart. I like the grimy kind of look that the fucking terminal gives us. It reminds me of a bigger version of the compound way back in the day.
Fill me in. I don't know.
Oh, the compound. That was
beautiful. Beautiful.
Here we go.
Oh man.
Grab a pillow. Let's do it.
Couple doors down from the CZW Wrestling Academy, there was the GCW compound, and it was just how would you call it, like an industrial park sort of thing, where like there would be different like big suites, they were called. You would have suite, I think
Kind of like H2O, right?
There was nothing sweet about it.
Nothing about it, but that's what they would call them. It was like an industrial park kind of thing, basically where you would assume that like auto bodies and like
manufacturing hubs,
small manufacturing places,
The kind of garage you would expect like a plumber's truck to roll out of.
Yeah, right. So there existed this space for wrestling training and also shows. The GCW compound at the end of that one particular row of I don't know what you would call them, just like
the strip mall.
Yeah, similar to, but like, like you would know it if you saw it, and it was just. There was nothing fancy about it. We had shit hanging up. There were some of the craziest death matches ever. Remember, like, who was it? Cyclope lit his leg on fire?
Yes.
Yeah. That shit was insane. We would have
Emil, do you remember? Emil, there was a match. It was maybe Cannonball, Schlack, maybe were in it. And they brawled outside the ring with light tubes, and somebody either swung a tube or did the wide form, break it over the dude's head type deal, and then like toss it to the side. I think somebody swung a tube, and half of it went. Not quite a baseball bat, but it broke in half, and the half went spearing through the crowd, and it hit the wall, but it went right between two people's heads like this, like right between like a spear.
At TOS this year. There was half a tube that made it into the fourth row on the
holy shit.
And like we saw that, I remember I had it in slow motion footage because it was inches away from stabbing two people in the face, and it hit the wall so perfectly that it left a dust mark, a tube dust mark on the wall that stayed there for months, and I never wiped it off. It was like a reminder of like my life flashing before my eyes. But to the day we moved out of there was like the tube mark on the wall. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
He's so nonchalant because Brett's seen it all, man. He's been in the game for a long ass time.
Yeah, back then, GCW didn't have much to lose, so I wasn't as crazy, when shit would leave the ring, or I wouldn't get as, anxious. But
yeah,
that was the first time where I probably realized this is out of control.
That was probably your first oh shit moment, shit in your pants.
I mean, definitely that was over the line scary for me.
Yeah, and man, we're still here.
Now, Brett, does GCW have any new states or states or cities possibly for 2024 still left in them? I know 2024 is maybe wrapped up darn near.
Talking about stuff that hasn't been announced yet?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if maybe there's a state that we haven't seen yet, or a city that you haven't been to yet in 2024. Is there anything new coming?
Yeah, of course. I mean, as we already announced and is going on sale this Friday, there's Salt Lake City in August, which is new. There's Hawaii in November, which we've already announced. And then there's a couple more that are kind of on the maybe list right now that might squeak in or might squeeze in November or December. That we're just kind of talking about it, but nothing's set yet. So I think maybe there might be one or two more before the end of the year. But we'll see.
Any talks on a Hammerstein return?
Maybe.
Smart.
I'm very excited for
that. When are you coming back to Hartford, Connecticut?
Maybe. Maybe.
I know I apologize for hounding you on that one, but that was my first GC dub, and until I can start traveling further outside the Northeast, that's as far as that's. I'll let you guys come up to Massachusetts.
I'll tell you this. There's also another friend of mine who I know in that area who's anxious for us to come back as well. So it's not just you.
Yeah.
Joel?
Fuck yeah, let's go.
What's that?
Joel Belanger?
No,
he's from Connecticut.
No, it's a footage dork friend of mine, Matthew.
Got it.
Yeah.
So Chip, who dropped off, keeps questioning Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, I tried. I did give a good effort to Pittsburgh. I wanted to sneak it in a few months ago, but it didn't work out. A couple venues we tried, and it was just the planets didn't align. But Pittsburgh's definitely on the list, and I think maybe by the end of, I would guess that sometime next year we'll probably hit Pittsburgh.
So. Can I ask a question real fast about the venue? So, do you guys ever have any hard time in terms of, because GCW is getting such a big name, with venues trying to overcharge you guys what they would charge another company because of who you are?
Well, I mean it's definitely happened at that type of thing. Wouldn't really happen at a larger scale or like a nicer style venue. Like that type of thing would happen in. Well, I don't even want to tell you where it could happen, just because maybe it's happened, but I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. But most of the places that GCW runs, we're on the smaller scale of the people that come through. Like a Center Stage or any Live Nation venue. We're not the of all the people they could charge extra. We're the last ones they would probably try to charge extra because. We just don't have it. We do a lot of venues where there's major touring acts that come through, and we're on the bottom end of the totem pole compared to those people. So you know, going to like, for example, you know, going to some place like Hammerstein Ballroom, you know, which is a very expensive place to do a show. You know, there are corporate entities that run there, and the expenses to run it is lunch money for them. You know, so, but for us, it would be everything, literally. So that's kind of, it gives you an idea of kind of what we're working with, you know, in a lot of places we go, you know, so we're really, you know, somebody could try to charge us more, but there's a limit to what we can pay. So it's not just like, you know, they're not going to get away with it, basically.
I wanted to kind of mention about Vegas next year, Brett, and it's just more of a statement. Brant and I can sometimes help on if you had need with finding a venue, several places like that. So in case something ever comes up on that end, my wife especially, she's connected with quite a few people that can help find something that fits your criteria, if need be, if you haven't already. So just want to.
Well, I think we have a couple really good leads for the collective. I've been out there twice now, doing walkthroughs and meeting with different venues and sizing up the options and, you know, kicking tires and whatnot. But I think we're probably locked in on where we're going to go. I don't want to give any spoilers yet because the contract's not signed and I don't want to jinx anything. But
I heard some things myself, so but I'll keep that information too.
Interesting. So
Vegas is very small, Brett. Vegas is very small. We all know
it is. It actually is, which is crazy. But I really love Las Vegas, and I would like to expand our schedule there. You know, next year beyond just the collective, and we would have been there more this year. But the Silver Nugget, our other venue, has been shut down for renovations, and they don't really even know when they're coming back. So. It's been tough
that was the
for me
impression
to.
I got asking about it too during Double or Nothing weekend.
I mean, because like I'll tell you what, the one or two times that we did the Los Angeles to Las Vegas loop, oh, what a beautiful! I love it. It's perfect. It's so good.
I mean, I would love to. Maybe in 2025, a Vegas, LA, Phoenix loop would be perfect.
I gotta add Phoenix.
Everywhere is 4 hours away from each other. It's so perfect.
Yeah, and there are 3 awesome cities.
Yeah, like I said the other day, like Denver, Albuquerque, Phoenix is also possible too.
Brett, Raleigh from Phoenix says hi.
Oh, hi Raleigh. Raleigh's the man.
Oh, at first I thought you were talking about towns again. I'm like, dude, Raleigh and Phoenix, not possible.
Raleigh, North Carolina to Phoenix, Friday, Saturday.
That's a pretty good loop, yeah.
That's pretty.
Well, speaking of Raleigh, we'll go whichever direction looking towards Durham. Would you ever consider a GCW DPW collab, Deadlock Pro? Just throw it out there. Why not?
I mean, I would probably consider. I would consider that. I know those dudes. Well, I know John. Going back to when John was a kid, when John was a wee child, going to shows at the ECW arena. So,
I mean,
so
that's really when we all met each other. You,
yes.
me, John, Blood, fucking, promoters of other promotions on point.
Well, that's where everybody came from, to be honest.
Yeah.
Everybody that
Nova Pro.
Everybody came from the ECW arena in one way or another.
Yeah.
Weirdly.
I'd love to see a House of Glory collab because there's so many House of Glory regular talent, we'll just say, that are already over there, that some type of a mix of infiltration would be quite interesting in this time of storylines.
Yes. Very much
Sure.
yes.
Yeah, House of Glory is cool. The thing with House of Glory is they're kind of like their own universe, you know? So I don't know how a crossover would work, but
We're doing it here in Vegas in a couple months.
where at?
FSW Arena. It's FSW versus House of Glory.
Oh, that's right. I recall that.
Actually, the same day as your next LA show.
Screwball, you and me talking just for a second. Does House of Glory know how fucking hot that little building gets? Just you and me talking. Just you and me talking. Yeah, in August, man.
Yeah, they'll definitely need the swamp cooler for that.
Dude, yeah. Just for
Swamp
anybody
cooler
that
is
FSW
crazy.
rolls out these large swamp coolers that run about 4 feet tall and they're wide, and that's all they have. So I mean, you're in a box cooking, and I don't know. I just wanted to mention it up front because that might affect.
Have you
local
been to the
ticket sales.
H2O Center? Because that's
Oh yeah, they're actually very similar. As someone that's been to both.
Emil can attest to that this weekend. That was a.
Dude, that wasn't even the worst it was. The worst
All I Want?
was, yeah, last year.
Yeah, I heard about All I Want.
Bro.
That was something else.
Well, All I
God
Want
damn.
and 50 was very hot in the H2L building last year.
Wow.
Brett, I just had one question regarding Drew Parker. Now that he's back in GCW, what
Hell
kind of
yeah,
schedule
buddy.
are we going to kind of see from him in GCW with his return in wrestling now?
Of course, Drew Parker's amazing.
Yeah.
And he's a GCW guy. And if it was up to me, we would have, he would come and do extended tours like Rena's done. But Drew has a really good real life job these days. And I think, I don't think he wants to be doing wrestling every single weekend all over the world right now. I think he's cool kind of just picking his spots and coming and going. And, I don't know. Nobody knows what the future will hold, but I think right now, I think he's a featured attraction when he wants to be. And I think that's what we're going to get out of it. And that's fine. That's actually honestly okay with me because that's what he is. He is a feature attraction. And, whether we get him 1 weekend a year or 2 or 3, that's all a bonus in my opinion.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, I'm stoked that you guys got him back.
Kev from chat brings up, hey, now, can we ask Brett about death matches in LA? Do you want to maybe catch up everybody about how LA works and how the UCC works currently?
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a no-go at the UCC. So if you've been watching or hoping that we're going to bust out light tubes there, it's not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, watch your back your Nick Gage Dark Sheik match because that's all you're getting there.
I was going to ask, does it have anything to do with, I think the last match that I saw with Glasser was Jimmy Lloyd and Alex Zane. Did that have anything to do with that? Or was that kind of like on the outs before that match?
It was never, what's the right word? It was never
in the plan.
It was never a
something the venue liked.
Yes,
Agreed
correct.
upon?
They were never big fans of it to start with, and I think once we started filling that place up and packing it every single show, I think there becomes a lot less room for error and more liability, and I think they're just comfortable, not taking any chances,
Yeah,
so
that building's a pretty important part of that community too. Like
it's a very important part of that community.
More than just a wrestling venue.
Yes, correct. And furthermore, the UCC is very important to the GCW community.
Oh
So,
my God, yes.
Yes.
so doing anything to jeopardize that is not really on my list of chances I want to take anytime soon.
Yeah, I love going to the UCC whenever I can. So let's
Beautiful.
preserve that relationship as
Mhm.
long as we
They
can.
they have a
how many
fantastic staff.
Sorry.
I love those people. All of
Oh
them.
yeah, like
From
the
the
boss, the
security-
management guy, Mariano. He's like a team
Mariano.
GCW dude.
Mariano, the security guys, the bartenders,
Yes.
the people making the tacos in the concession.
They all wear
area, like-
GCW shirts.
Yes, yes, they are all great people. I love them all. I love like every other month when we go there, I look forward to saying hello to these. Like I always hello to all the security guards and the bartenders and the people in the kitchen and everything. Like they are great. They are definitely Team GCW. Like cannot sing their praises enough.
Do you have any issues at the UCC at all, Brett, in the way of noise issues, lighting issues, building the ring?
There's been challenges, but we've just been kind of figuring it out as we go over the years. And I think right now is probably the best we've ever had in terms of.
You watch back those streams from like 2021, they were so rough, and now it's like
they were.
Like, hey.
Yeah, bravo.
They were, and it was. Well, just to give you an example.
We used to have microphone issues there, didn't we?
That wasn't our fault. There was there's been multiple different microphone issues there. But I can tell you there was a couple streams where it was not our fault. I'll just say that without having to throw anyone in particular under the bus. But just to give you an example though, like in terms of the streaming there, it's never been easy to stream from there. They don't have hardwire internet in that venue. It's not available to us. And I even tried to pay to have it installed. I called they gave me the connection. Hey, this is who our internet provider would be. And I called, this was for the collective last year. I tried to call and pay to have internet installed. And then there was an appointment for them to come, and the company never showed up 3 straight times to come and install it. So
So LA Collective was run off of a Wi-Fi connection?
Yeah, so we use something that's called a U-Box, a live view it's called. And it's like it's so when like reporters, when journalists report on scene somewhere, that's what they use to transmit back to the news, the studio as it would be. It's very reliable. It's not supposed to be our first line of connection, but it can be. And when we go to the UCC, that's what we use. It's not ideal, but we have the equipment to make it work. But we didn't always have it so good. So there were times over the early shows where it was very choppy.
Dude, to the point that you're using my homeboy's hotspot for your Wi-Fi.
True story.
That's crazy.
For real, I have a friend who lives out there, and he can't. I said, come through to the show, and he has a hotspot, and we needed one, and shit, that's how it happens. In a place like that, sometimes you just have to, take what you can get.
I think he said he's hopping on and hopping back off, or hopping off, hopping back on. So I think we'll be back here.
Duggington asked, is GCW going back to Hoffman Estates at all for shows, or is Talia Hall the new home in Chicago?
Well, I guess, we'll ask that now that Brett's back.
Brett?
Hoffman Estates is done. Say goodnight.
Yeah, I kind of figured as much.
That was probably the most inconvenient, inhospitable venue that we ever ran at, to be honest. Well, maybe not ever, but up there in the top 5. I mean, just to be fair to them, I mean, that's not really their business. They're not in the rent the place out business. So, we kind of happened upon them several years ago through another connection, and us coming in there, I mean, they should have rolled out the red carpet because they made a ton of money off us, but they got a little too greedy in the end. And it's just, there was, another place where there was no hardwire internet. There was nothing offered, basically. I had to rent chairs. I had to rent every piece of equipment. They raised the price so high. I won't even tell you what it was, but it was so high. It was like laughable.
There's no reason to come back there now that they're not doing StarCast.
Right.
That was the big reason to go there, was it was so close to the StarCast hotel.
Right, and then furthermore,
air circulation in that place too.
Oh my God! I've never sweat so
much. But furthermore, the one thing that kept us there is they had the one field that was big enough for us to do war games on.
Yes.
But then at the end, they told us we couldn't use that one large field anymore. So if you're going to take that away from us, then just forget it.
Yeah, I noticed they for the last show they put in like artificial turf that wasn't there before.
Yeah, I mean they did right. So they did right. So I mean they're a soccer arena. They're not a event hosting venue. So I do get it. Like that's not their business, and they're not. I shouldn't. Nobody should expect them to have all the amenities and accommodations. But if you are gonna have us in there, then there should be a baseline that we can expect. And yeah, they were just kind of like, they kept pushing it, and eventually it just wasn't worth it to be there anymore.
Brett, you know what it really was? It was a big ass spontaneous sports.
Oh, nobody knows what that is, but I know what you're talking about.
Yes. Yeah, like that's for you. That's not for anybody else. That's like, but like, am I wrong? Like, it was.
No, you're correct. It's just a big cavernous place where people play sports in it. Youth sports, not fucking pro sports.
Yeah, like minor league soccer games. Yeah.
Yeah,
barely.
Pick up soccer on a Thursday night, dude. Like
more like the men's over 40 league, and then so it's like, but it's over.
Brett, so I have a question.
I wanted to break in. I'm so sorry. Is it okay if someone else sits down just for a moment, because Stackhouse is here now? We have people flying. Yeah, we have people flying. Is there anybody who wants to sit for a couple?
I can jump.
All right.
Okay.
Who was? I didn't hear who it was.
Frank.
I cut in and then Joe cut in at the same time as I said, I'll sit out. It's fine.
Are you okay for a little bit, Frank? We'll bring you back soon.
Yeah,
all right, brother. Hold on, Frank.
Brett, real quick question. We had the GCW at the Harrison Philly/Chester. Kind of gave off a little bit of a carousel room feel-ish. Or is that something we can expect to see maybe a little more frequent in the future?
Yeah, well, I would say we'll probably go back there again this year before the year's over.
Love that.
Yeah, it was honestly, I was actually pleasantly surprised because I've actually run events there before, non-GCW, and I did not experience the same vibe, but I guess that's GCW for you. And it was a great crowd, and honestly, Philly's pretty starved, so in hindsight, I probably shouldn't be surprised. Philadelphia was, in my day and in Emil's day, Philadelphia was every single weekend was, the heart of independent wrestling, but it hasn't been like that in years. So,
dude, I was just thinking about that earlier today, and I'm like, yo, every weekend we had CZW, Chikara, Ring of Honor, even PWU.
Yes.
Like, fuck. Like,
wow.
Whatever it was, and I was even thinking, like, yo, South Jersey used to be incredible for the indies.
Yeah.
And now, damn.
There's a lot of companies. I just it's not the quality that there was 10
Correct.
years.
There's nobody that kind of has placed a claim on it, home turf, and this is the standard for Philly.
Yeah.
So maybe we can move towards that. It's just for us, we already have Atlantic City, and we do shows in New York City. And then we'll see about Asbury Park coming back into the rotation more often. So, you try not to run the same areas too many times. So, I don't think that there's a scenario where we could do Philadelphia every month or every other month or even every 3 months right now. But maybe it can work its way more prominently into the rotation next year.
I think naturally they're just going Philadelphia is a wrestling town.
Mm-hmm.
the more we run there, the more it'll pick up. I just have.
I mean,
that
we used to do the
feeling.
Voltage Lounge. Of course.
but the Voltage Lounge could only service so many people.
Right, of course.
And for me, honestly, I like the Voltage Lounge the most. I loved that place.
Well, the spirit was there, no doubt about it.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a very
I liked it.
GCW place.
Yeah, those early COVID days were.
I liked it even more than I liked the Showboat. And the Showboat, is like 15 minutes away from me. Like,
well, the Voltage Lounge, right? So we could only fit. Well, it was only supposed to be 125 people, but of course I may have pushed that a few times. But there was, with such a limited capacity, we didn't really make any money on those shows. We ran those shows because they were so fun and they were momentum builders. It was just like, look at how cool this is.
yeah, and we're not like, in the long term, we're not losing. Like, because we're building. Like, we're like, you might say like, oh, like, we didn't, like, the house wasn't enough to cover this and that, but in the long term of just having that show exist is going to keep us alive to the next time that we can make that money. Like, it all works out. It all works out.
Incredible. Holy moly, I didn't expect all that to come out of that. That's beautiful. Sam Stackhouse, welcome, brother.
What's up? How you doing?
Dude, it's good to have you back on the show. I love seeing your smiling face. You're doing well. You look good. You look happy.
Appreciate it. Yes, sir. Feel a lot better.
now. Yeah, it's
Phoenix's favorite son.
Right? Yeah,
King of Phoenix.
The King of Phoenix.
Something like that. It appears so.
Hey, it's
King
something
of the
else.
desert, maybe, with the time in Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas is also. I love Vegas too.
Las Vegas loves you, brother. It's the Southwest United States is yours.
It's weird because it's the desert. It's the last place that you think that I would be over, but here we are.
Brett, we have a question that we've kind of talked about in the past before, and since you're here, might as well ask it again. Is there a reason LA Fights didn't work out? This person says they thought they were pretty decent showcases, and we kind of talked about that in the past of how LA Fights kind of did have a little place in the GCW world, kind of with JCW. And since we only got a couple shows, he was asking to kind of what happened there.
Well, LA Fights was fun, and I do think the shows were cool and productive, and I think had we continued, we could have continued to build and grow it. However, one of the challenges for LA Fights, specifically for me, for the whole kind of GCW team, is that we run so often with GCW now, so frequently. There's not a lot of openings in the schedule. There's not a lot of weekends off, so for me and for our production crew, to schedule an LA Fights on a non-GCW weekend, it means another West Coast trip. It means another off weekend that's no longer off. And going to LA is not like going to Philadelphia for us. Like going to LA is basically a 3-day trip for us, even if it's one show. You have to fly in the night before, you have the show the day of, and then you fly home the following day. It's not like New York or Philadelphia where I can drive there the morning of and then drive home the same night. So for me, 4 or 5 years ago, I would have said, 5 years ago, this wouldn't have been an issue for me. I'd say, let's go, add more to the schedule. But I have 18-month-old twins at home, and I have another baby on the way. And it's just,
congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And for me to commit to giving away the few off weekends we have to go and invest in building something that's not really at the level to be well, to be profitable and be bearing the fruit that's worth the time. I don't have that. I just don't have that resource, the time, the most valuable resource. I don't have that available right now. So maybe at some point it will come back, and I promise you, I love Los Angeles. If I could do this, if I could do it more, if we could run Los Angeles more, like, we'd be there. If I could live in Los Angeles, I'd live there. But it's not that easy. So for now, it's just kind of on hiatus. But it's gone, but it's not forgotten. And I hope someday there will be a scenario where it makes sense or where it's convenient to come back and we can pick up where we left off, because there's so much good young talent in Los Angeles, and there's so many great fans in LA. It's an awesome market. I've always had fun there, and I someday.
And real quick, when Brett says that he loves Los Angeles and loves Las Vegas and also Atlantic City, I can vouch for that 110%, because when we're not messaging each other about old WWF or WCW shit, we're messaging each other videos of old Atlantic City, Los Angeles, or Las Vegas, talking about, damn, these cities are cool as fuck.
We try.
True story.
We try.
Yeah, like that's what we do. Like, we talk about old wrestling from like at least 30 years ago, and then we send each other old video clips of some of our favorite cities that we run in. So
Screwball, do you want to tell Emil and Brett about the historical aspect of the Silver Nugget if they don't already know it?
I already know it. I already know it.
Damn.
Yeah, like this is stuff they talked about on the Patreon podcast a little bit ago. But some of the first ever light tube spots were in the Silver
Yes.
So
cool. I talked to when I was in Las Vegas a few weeks ago. I actually had dinner with Sabu. Don't tell anybody. But I met up with Sabu for dinner, and we were talking about it. I brought up the fact that he wrestled at the Silver Nugget, and I was trying to get his memories of it. Of course, he doesn't remember shit, but I had to tell him, like, you wrestled Virgil at the Silver Nugget, and he was like, no way. And I had to like pull up, like,
Jack, and Kyle drove him on a blackjack table.
Yeah, so like I had to like pull up like the clips and pull up the dates and tell him, no, dude, look right here. You wrestled Jim Neidhart and Virgil and whatever at the Golden Nugget, and you used light tubes here. And he was blown away by it. He had no recollection of it, but it's right here, dude. You're looking right at it.
Yeah, that old NWC.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the promotion that Jim Neidhart?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is.
Yeah.
There's such a weird.
As who? Is that the arena he dressed as who? Or
Oh my god.
Oh no.
No, different.
If you look back, though,
what's their name? The Thug is what they called it.
The Ku Klux Klan, maybe.
Oh
Yeah.
All right, I'm probably like the newest wrestling fan in this whole group. So like, there's so much that I have to learn. So I appreciate this. Just keep feeding the stories. I like to learn.
Alan, Brad, have you ever seen the old So you know how there was a showboat in Las Vegas as well as Atlantic City. Have you ever seen the old YouTube clips of commercials of wrestling at the showboat?
Of wrestling at the showboat in Las Vegas?
Yes, they would advertise, like they would have like a old like WCW
AWA.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if I've seen I don't know if I've seen commercials for it, but I've seen the actual wrestling.
I've seen the match.
But I'm surprised that you haven't pulled any of those clips just for the voice clip of wrestling at the boat for some promotion package.
Send them to me. Send me some links.
I will ping you some links if I find them tonight.
That sounds amazing.
Because I would love to see a promo clip for.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Wrestling at the boat.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right, Brett, I got a deep question for you. I'm so sorry. And if you have time for it, great. We've got time. Can you walk us from the Nick Gage Invitational in 2015 to the early concept of GCW once you saw the path to do so?
Boy.
Totally deep question. So sorry. Well, here's what happened. If he's going to show up, he's going to get my questions, and my questions run funny. So
I don't know, but
I learn more. So
I don't know about. I guess I don't really know exactly how to answer this question, but as far as the NGI goes, I used to visit Nick. I used to visit Nick in prison almost weekly, or every other week or whatever. Several times a month, I would visit him, and he was mostly, in terms of the wrestling business and people within the wrestling business, he was kind of whatever he was done, and to most of those people,
ostracized.
right? Like there was a lot of pretenders, people who pretended that they were still his friend and were looking out for him, but there was nobody. And also around that time is when I actually started to my schedule reduced dramatically, by I don't know, 2012 maybe. The amount of shows I was doing were few and far between, whereas 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, I had shows every weekend. But by 2012 and 2013, I wasn't doing as much anymore for whatever reason, a variety of reasons. I'll put it like that. But, I was still visiting Nick, who was, of course, not doing any shows. And, we would always talk about in 2 years, 2 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days, you're getting out of prison, and it would be like, what are you going to do? What are we going to do? And he'd always talk about how, he always loved death matches, and I love death matches. So that's what we would talk about. And, I had no relationship with, I didn't really have a relationship with anybody in wrestling, and especially not with CZW. And, they were shitty people that ran that company anyways. So it was like, Nick, when you get out, we should do something, but we shouldn't do it with CZW. Let's find a way to do a 6 show on our own, or as close to on our own as we can, and whatever. We just, the idea was spoken into existence, we should do a deathmatch tournament. Yeah, that would be sick. We would call it the Nick Gage Invitational. Yeah, that would be a good name. And then, whatever, just the idea, yeah. And then it's 2 years or whatever, 3 years turns to 2 years, 2 years turns to 18 months, 18 months turns to a year, and you start getting under a year, and it's like, hey, you're actually about to get out of prison. If we're going to do this, let's actually figure out how we're going to do this. And whatever, I went through the Rolodex, and who do I know that would actually have some resources? Who has a ring? Who knows how to get a venue? And whatever, one thing led to another, and the original Nick Gage Invitational was born. And of course, the night before, Nick Gage went back to prison, which is a whole other story. But the concept was born, and it was no pardon the pun, it was a game changer for deathmatch wrestling. And it reignited passions. It brought people back from the dead, and fans who had lapsed, and even wrestlers who had lapsed. Many, Corporal Robinson, a lot of people who had been kind of forgotten, or not even forgotten, just there was nothing going on, so there was nothing for them to do. And we kind of reignited that passion and showed that, hey, there still is a desire out there for it. There are still fans that want to see this, and they want alternatives. And it was Nick wasn't here, and it still worked out, and there's still all these people that are asking, when are we going to do the next one? So whatever, just, one thing led to another. And, the short form is, we just kept going, and now we're here. So,
and that's how you ended up sitting on a red chair in Hammerstein Ballroom.
Yes, actually, yes.
Yeah, but in the midst, we We can't forget about that show at Great Meadows. We can't forget about fucking, what was it, Manville, or what was it?
Well, there's a lot of those shows. I don't even I don't consider those as part of the same lineage.
Oh yeah, it's like the transition era. Like
There was a slight in between era, right? There was a little in between the NGI 1 and TOS 1. There was a lot of stuff. There was not a lot, but there were some shows that happened that I had nothing to do with, really, and they were kind of still under the old regime, and they happened as GCW, but they were still, for all intents and purposes, they were not GCW. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
What do you consider the first GCW show to be? TOS 1?
Great question.
Well, I consider it to be NGI 1, and then the second show, in my mind, is TOS 1, and then everything after that is GCW.
Yeah, it's just that like there's some things that happened in between NGI 1 and TOS 1 that like, yes, they did happen, but like they're not kind of like the same spirit. You know,
They're not even in the same ballpark, right?
Yeah,
and the same spirit is the right word. They were different.
Yeah,
they were
Matty
literally
Ice.
different types of shows.
Matty Ice,
Right.
fucking awesome, but like
GCW was never meant to be what it is today. That's not what GCW was originally created for. The GCW that came before us. It wasn't meant to be this.
no, not at all.
Were your original plans to get this large, Brett?
Well, I mean, of course, everybody's dream is to, I'm going to start a wrestling company and it's going to be successful and it's going to be this and that. Like, yeah, of course, like in my mind, I think I'm good at this and I think we can be successful, but, and I actually, of course, I always believe that. I always tried to help CZW, and I tried to help DJ Hyde, and I would.
Yes.
I don't want to go down this rabbit hole too much, but Emil knows. I spent hours. I subjected myself to hours a week on the phone with DJ Hyde, and when I say subjected myself, I'm saying like I volunteered for torture. Because I loved CZW and I wanted to help.
Brett, what year was that? Like 2010, 2000.
Yeah, I mean, for years, 10,
Right.
11, 12,
10, 11,
until
12, but that
right.
was me in 15, 16, 17.
Right.
Like I like, trust me, I know. Like I was hours on the an hour phone call with DJ Hyde is short.
Yeah, and again, that's subjecting yourself to punishment.
You don't accomplish anything.
No.
You just talk in circles until you try to get back around to pitching your original idea so it seems like his, so that he'll agree with it, but you kind of can't because he's got this weird fucking Jedi mind trick or whatever the fuck that he won't allow himself to listen to fucking anything.
It's true. But anyways, but I mean, okay, so in all reality, everything that has happened in GCW, I would have could have happened in CZW. I'll put it like that. Had DJ given me, the time of day or a shred of respect. I mean, none of these ideas were stuff I just suddenly came up with. Like this style of show and the same things that the same shit. I didn't suddenly learn how to look for talent or have a I didn't suddenly develop an eye for talent. These were people that I had watched for years and could have, had anybody asked me, I would have said, hey, you should use this guy and this guy and this guy, and we could do this, or DJ, why don't we try doing this? But just, it was literally brick wall, bash your head off the wall, and so. Anyways, again, I was always confident that I had good ideas and I knew what I was talking about. But and I don't want to say that they're like, oh, if only. I mean, I was a referee, and in this business, it's just like whatever. It's just like sometimes people just don't want to hear from you. They just didn't want to hear from me, and it is what it is. But I was always confident that, like, hey, I think I have an idea of how this could work, like how this independent wrestling thing could work and deathmatch wrestling could work. And eventually, it's like, and it got to the point where it was put your money where your mouth is, and I was very confident. And did I think we could do this? Yes, I did think we could get this big, and I did think we could be successful. It happened. It's crazy. It actually happened, and I'm very proud of it.
What do you think the launching point was there?
There was multiple launching points throughout the history of GCW. There was multiple.
Yes.
There was multiple events and situations and decisions that were made that included us putting all the chips in and rolling the dice, proverbially or whatever. There was multiple occasions where it was do or die, and we did on every single one of them. And that was just a matter of confidence and believing that the way we do things is the way we were doing it was right, and people would get behind us and believe in it, and we would deliver. And again, we just did every time. Whatever, TOS 1, a launching point, Spring Break 1. First of all right, this is another rabbit hole that I'm not going to go down, but Spring Break 1 was a launching pad for fucking wrestling as we know it today.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my
As
God.
someone that the first GCW show was Spring Break 1.
Wow.
So Spring Break 1 planted a lot of seeds across the industry. There's 0% doubt in my mind. There's no doubt about it that Spring Break 1 changed the wrestling business. Depending on who you ask, they'll tell you how significant it was or insignificant, but I am 100% confident in knowing that Spring Break 1 changed wrestling.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Trust me. I was there. I was there before then, and I've been here after then. You're not wrong. That you want to talk about? You want to talk about game changer? That's the show. That's the one that did it.
I was gonna ask too, like with the first collective, how did that come to be with other just putting it all together?
Well, the first collective. So this is what happened. Okay, we went to Orlando for Spring Break 1, and we joined up with Sal and Gabe, and they were gracious enough to let us be a part of it. And I'll always, to this day, and I've said it multiple times, Gabe and Sal have a big role in the history of GCW. Them giving us that opportunity in hosting Spring Break. Without them, it wouldn't have happened. So I'll always be thankful to them for that. But Spring Break 1 was that initial launching point. Then we returned the next WrestleMania year for Spring Break 2 in New Orleans, again with Gabe and Sal. And our event ended up blowing away every other independent show that weekend, blowing it away. 2,500 people. It blew away Progress and everybody, Evolve, all those companies. They were all a footnote to GCW that weekend.
Joey,
it wasn't
Sasuke,
it a midnight
right?
show?
Yeah,
It
was.
was.
Like in the middle of nowhere too. Like it was nowhere near
Correct.
anything else in New Orleans.
Correct. And also, just for the record, we also did Bloodsport for the first time with Matt Riddle that weekend, which also was another game changer.
Which spun off the main event of Spring Break 1 with Severn and Riddle.
Well, it was Riddle and Minoru Suzuki. And there's so many stories about.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Minoru Suzuki not originally scheduled for that.
Yes, infamous.
Whoa.
And that's a whole other story. And there's so
And-
many
and-
stories to that.
And
But
remember, Brett, that morning you called me and was like, "Can you get?" And I was like, "Yeah, my boy Bobby's got a car," and then he got Minoru Suzuki from wherever to.
oh my
there.
God.
Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. You called me that morning. It was like, "Yo, shit, like we need to get this guy." I'm like, "All right, we got a car.
Yeah.
Let's do it."
That
was insane.
Yeah. So that weekend, Bloodsport and Spring Break blew everything else away, and it just became apparent. Like, hey, and this was with all due respect still to Gabe and Sal, but hey, what we're doing is now bigger than what they're doing. So, if GCW is going to level up, it's time for us to kind of take matters into our own hands. And it's not that we don't need them, but hey, like we may be able to do this our way and do it. I don't want to say better, but we may be able to offer an alternative that people will be into equally, if not more, than what is currently being offered. And yeah, that just led to the Collective in Jersey City, where almost every show was sold out, and in our case, sold out in seconds. Spring Break. Here's a crazy story, and Emil, I don't know, you might remember this, Emil, but this was the era where I was working so hard on GCW. Not that I'm not now, but I used to stay up all night, every night, messages, calls, emails, whatever, just like chatting with people, like, just like doing GCW stuff. And I would literally, I would be up all night until I passed out, literally. So that might come at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 8 a.m., 10 a.m., whatever. And the tickets for Spring Break 3 Part 2, that was the first year we did a 2-part Spring Break. It was the one where we had the night 2. So it was night 2. Part 2 was night 2. Yes, the clusterfuck, and it started at midnight again. So anyways, tickets were supposed to go on sale at 10 a.m. or whatever. And I fucking passed out at like 9 a.m. And 10 o'clock hit, and I wasn't there to activate the ticket site and turn it on. So all these people were going, "How do we get the tickets? How do we get the tickets?" But Joey Janela knew the password, the pre-sale password. So he tweeted out the pre-sale password, and it sold out in whatever 2 minutes based off Joey tweeting out the pre-sale password without me ever activating the ticket page.
Wow.
In minutes.
That's incredible. Like,
yeah.
It's funny. I was not there at all. Jersey City. That WrestleMania weekend, that anything. I was about a month away from quitting the wrestling business. Like I was like that was like it was like when I was still working for CZW, but I had given up Dojo Wars, and I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? Da 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 da. And then that weekend was in North Jersey, and I was like, that's not a vacation. I don't want to go there. That sucks. But then that show that was it the first show at Voltage in June of 2019? I think it was, which was also like Allie's first show and Adam Galt's first show, I think.
Wow.
What was it? Crushed Up? Was that the show?
Might have been.
Maybe. But it wasn't like I was like about to be done, and then like I did that show, and I was like, oh fuck it, I'll just do this. I had so much fucking fun. I was like, I gotta stick around for this. Because, like, remember, before then, I wasn't at every GCW. Like, I would be at, like, the Atlantic City shows and maybe, like, do commentary here and there. But, like, I wasn't at it. Because, like, I was with DJ and that, unfortunately.
Quick fact check for Allie, because I'm crazy like this. Allie's first match.
I know the answer.
It was Jimmy
The
all the way.
Compound.
Jimmy, yeah, it was Compound, but her first match in Philly was Justice at Jimmy all the way.
That same show that she did at the Compound was also the first show for AJ Gray,
Oh, wow. Holy shit.
and he got a concussion.
Ouch.
That's
Mm-hmm.
good. But yeah, that's the crazy thing. Like I was genuinely almost out until that show that we had in June in Philadelphia that year. That brought me back. Because I was gonna be done with this shit. I don't want nothing.
Well, we're
to
glad
do with
we're
it.
glad you stayed.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Very
agreed.
much so.
Without your signature intro, I don't know where wrestling would be.
Nah, fuck all that. Like
There's
nah,
a-
like
There's a few people. There's a few people in GCW that are irreplaceable, and I would say Emil's one of them.
Absolutely. No, without a
I
doubt.
appreciate
Uh-huh.
that.
Emil, I have a question from my father-in-law because he found like some old ZZW like channel on
Sure.
the TV, so he was watching it and he asked me if that was the same ring announcer that does the GCW shows now, and he looked because he was stunned that you were so dressed up for CZW. He wants to know what caused the costume change at GCW,
He was
Oh,
spiffy.
right?
this is a great story because it was actually the same day that the Nick Gage intro was like invented for the first time. It was Art of War 2017 when Nick Gage wrestled Matt Riddle at Game Changer World in Howell, July 2017.
Rest in peace.
I go I ride up to the show with somebody whoever I rode up with. Within like 15 seconds of getting to the venue, like walking into the parking lot and everything, somebody asked me if I want to do a dab. So I'm like, yes. Because I thought I was just on commentary. So I'm like, fuck it. I'll just like hang out here and party until like all the words come out all good and stuff. you know? But then like it's like we had like a bell time of 7:30. So then it's like 7:18, and I'm like, oh, I guess I should go inside. I had been there for like an hour and a half already, like whatever. So like I walk inside and they're like, oh, they've been looking for you, like they need you to ring announce. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, and I'm like thinking like all these things, but like I'm also like I don't have any clothes to dress in, like, because like at that point in time I had always dressed up in a suit for everything. So then I go find Brett and Danny, and I'm like, oh, so you need me to ring announce? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I don't have anything to wear. And mind you, I'm wearing like ripped jeans, a fucking Bam Bam Bigelow t-shirt, a WWF cap, ball cap. And Brett, I always remember this. You looked at me and you said, whatever, just be you. And I'm like, oh shit. And I was like, okay, I guess I can just do this and do whatever I want to do. And that was also the same day that I said MDK all fucking day for the first time ever.
Fuck yeah.
So like that was a very crazy day for me. Like it
There's the ball. Something right here about that. Something. They're like, something, Joe.
The aliens are invading.
What?
yeah, what's happening? That's wild.
John, you're muted. There you
Not
go.
me. Not me. Not me. Who was that?
I don't know.
All right.
But like that day, Art of War 2017. Wow. Talk about a game changer. Like that totally just fucking, because from that point on, I was like, okay, I can literally just be me. Like that's like, if that's what they want me to be, if that's what Brett and Danny wanted me to be at that day, like I can just be that everywhere else. And fuck it, like it worked.
All right, so back to you, Brett. I want to ask you real quick. So much has changed at GCW since Cardona's injury, mainly the ushering in of more sports entertainment. You've walked that fine line of upgrading the product without losing any of its identity. Congratulations on that. Were any of these plans in place before Cardona was injured? Or was this something that, you know what, now's the time for us to pop out, try some new things under the Cardona, guys?
I think, I mean, I don't want to say anything wasn't like pre-planned. I don't think, I think that we're just in the evolution of just doing different stuff and doing stuff that we think is fun. I honestly don't think it's too deep. Like, I don't think there's that much thought into like a shift in our philosophy. I think it's just like, this would be fun and let's do this for a little bit, like, it coinciding with Cardona getting hurt or all of that. I think it's all just part of the universe, like, I don't think it's like this happened because of this or this because of this. I think it's just, just the way a couple stories go, and hey, we could have fun doing it this way. And it's just kind of, I don't know, I guess we're kind of putting a theme on it, when I say it's the sports entertainment era, and I guess, might as well roll with it a little bit, it's fun, and it's been, I don't know, it's just been like a little change of pace, but, like there's no like, in terms of there being like some official like change in the way of doing business, like that's not occurring. It's just so happens, maybe this story and this story and this story are taking a different route than we normally would. But I mean, it's fun. Like I love using that term, and telling people, oh, we're in the sports entertainment era, just because, it gets a rise out of people and it gets a reaction. So, it gets people's attention, and whatever. It's fun. It's funny, like sometimes I'll post stuff like that, and people who don't necessarily know me, like, or follow me or whatever as closely as others, they don't know that, listen, this is kind of tongue in cheek and I'm kind of just making a joke, like I've seen people reply to tweets like, oh, great, the end of GCW, or like now they're like they really are teaming with the WWE now, and stuff like that.
Sell the WWE, yes.
Right. It's like, no, we're just having fun, and I know that people, just in the same way that, Cardona refers to the GCW universe and he uses all the WWE terms. I'm just kind of playing off it,
The fucking purple Velcro belt.
Yeah,
Nah,
all that.
It's like, how many times I got to see a reply to a tweet where it's Brett standing with Stephanie from that one, like, WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Like,
or the photo with Nick Khan.
My good friend Nick Khan, my good friend Stephanie.
Yeah, I mean, like, God forbid a guy just posts a picture of his good friends on social media, and these people are on here trying to post it as a gotcha, like, oh, GCW. Yeah. In my favorite terminology, in the mud. I love that. I love when we are in the mud. That is the best one.
Yeah.
Wrestling fans are so chatty, and I think we're just that type naturally. And I think that the storylines that GCW has really given the fans a lot to chew on. And
Dude,
instead of talking
John-
about that cool match, now we talk about the story. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying I've been on the wrestling internet since October of 1996.
So about 5 years before I was born. Okay. Same month.
Yes. We've always been a bunch of chatty Cathys.
Yeah.
Just bitching about whatever the fuck. And
wrestling's one of those fan.
Oh no.
You know, people love to talk about it 24/7. It becomes part of their lifestyle in a lot of ways.
Even at Tuesday night at 1 a.m. in the morning.
Exactly. What are we doing here?
Exactly.
We're talking about the sport of kings.
Absolutely.
The king of sports.
But it's just, there's been so much growth and so much change. I just had to make sure I mentioned that it's just made going online and talking with other fans a lot more enjoyable. And the effort into the storylines, Effie, Manson, you know, all of the thought behind the scenes to bring out what they did over the last 6 months have been fantastic.
They did great. They did a great job.
Yeah.
They were two perfect people for that story, and I'm glad that it translated as well as it did, and that everybody was able to enjoy it and appreciate all the work and the thought that did go into it. So, you know, that was honestly, it was a team effort for everybody, including the fans. You know, they're as equally a part of it. So that was fun.
Yeah, almost people in the double digits bled for that story. We had Cole and Alec. There was so many people involved, and people
Even
only
someone
think
like
Manson.
Prazak doing the interview.
Yeah. Prazak's amazing, by the way, Brett.
Of course, he's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer.
Dude.
Yo, what if Manser stuck Prazak with a screwdriver in the sit down though?
Well,
he's still a heel. It's still on the table.
What if Manser stuck you, Emil?
No, what I was about to say is I'm not suggesting stuff for him to do, nor would I want him to suggest things for me to do. We're friends, we're pals.
But don't intonate it into the universe, Emil.
But what if that occurred? Like, that would have been insane. Thank God he didn't. How about that? How about that? There we go. How about that? Oh, Brett, remember back in the day? The Dr. Phil watch?
Yes.
My God.
I used to watch it every day.
Me too. The vignettes were incredible. We used to talk about it on Facebook. Like, we'd be like, yeah, what about the fucking... Oh, my God.
I remember watching the Catch Me Outside episode first as it aired. I was watching it live.
And then I think you sent me... I think you messaged me like the same day, like when the shit was on like YouTube or whatever, and you were like, "Yo, watch this," and I'm like, "Holy fuck!"
Oh yeah.
And we were talking about how the vignettes on Dr. Phil are, at that time, they were better than Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Well, you know, I tried to book.
Not a high bar.
I tried to book her, Bad Baby, for spring break. Would it have been 1 or 2, whatever one coincided.
Enormous
because I remember,
probably right.
I remember that I had watched. I had like looked at her Instagram or whatever, and she had like a video where she had like Monday Night Raw on in the background or something. And I was like,
shit.
"Oh my God, is she a wrestling fan?" And so I tried DMing her from the GCW Instagram, and I don't think she ever opened them, but I tried.
Oh no.
We need Dr. Phil in GCW.
I wish.
Oh my God, that would be incredible. Like Imagine like a like instead of a ladder match, it's a 3-way sit down hosted by Dr. Phil between Joey Manser.
Yeah,
Yep,
title picture right now.
Can we have
Emil,
Dr.
I
Phil
think
host
you
a talk
smoked
show
a little too
segment or a
much weed
contract
there,
signing?
bud. I think you smoked a little too much.
No, I'm about to
Sorry.
smoke
I would
I'm
right
about
there
to-
with him there. That'd be a great segment on Homecoming.
I'm about to smoke
Oh,
another one,
God.
so stay tuned.
Yeah, please.
Dr. Phil might be out of our price range these days.
Oh
man.
God, yeah.
Oh, get the bum fights guy who
Thank you.
fucking-
There you go.
Oh my God, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that guy
He
was
dressed
a
up
legend.
as Dr. Phil.
Oh, the
Mhm.
comedian guy. Is
Yes, that guy.
I can't believe fucking Long Neck was at LA. That shit was crazy.
Unbelievable. Somebody, the security guard came and told me, he said, there's some guy outside that wants to talk to you. And I was thinking, like, what is this? Like, they're like a fan who needs a ticket or something, or what's going on? And I walked outside and Long Neck was just standing there. I was like, the fuck? Is that Long Neck? What's
So
up,
did
man?
you know of him before that night?
Yes, of course. But you know, I don't. Well, the fun tidbit about this is, I was like, who? I was like, what did he say? He said to me like, yeah, is my boy here? And I was like, who are you talking about? And he's talking about who told him to pull up. And Emil, do you know who?
Was it Jimmy Lloyd?
No.
No.
Janelle.
It turns out.
Jordan.
It turns out that he's good boys with Zilla.
Oh,
Oh my
Really?
God!
Wow.
Yes.
okay.
Of course, Zilla knows everybody everywhere.
It's so weird. Zilla does know
Yeah.
everybody.
By the way,
And he-
speaking of Zilla, rest in peace, Sika. Roland
Yes.
Dad.
Yes.
But I walked a little long neck in, and Zilla was standing up by the stage, and he hopped down. Yo, what's up, man? They like gave each other the full blown fucking bro hug and all that. It was legit.
My God, yo! No matter where we go, Oos shows up with like at least 3 people.
Yeah, I was telling another promoter about this the other day. They were asking me about Zilla, and I said, I love taking Zilla on the road because I don't have to do shit. He doesn't even need a hotel room. He always has somebody that's gonna pick him up. He always has somebody who he's staying with. I don't have to get him a ride. I don't have to get him a hotel. He's good. He has somebody there. He already has a guy everywhere.
In every fucking city we've been to.
Yeah,
We've been coast to coast and in between with him.
Sounds like he's
Yeah.
a blessing all around, huh?
Oh, he's
I mean,
awesome.
Part of the Samoan family. They know everybody, right?
It's insane.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about Samoans here. He just knows people.
No, just
Yeah.
people. Just
Fair point. Fair point.
I didn't realize he's
I've
only.
not,
had, like,
I've not, honestly, I've not seen him with a Samoan yet. Like,
I
I'm
didn't know
gonna be
he
honest.
only had 25 matches, or like how many matches he's had. That's kind of nuts.
13.
Like 13 or
13?
14, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's even
And
crazier.
now-
He's so good. That's just nuts.
Yeah. And now that Jacob's in WWE, everyone's like, okay, so when's Zilla pulling up? And it's like, guys, pump the brakes.
We're just
Come
fortunate
on.
to have him. Just
Yeah.
fortunate.
Well, we're all kind of a part of this thing. I mean, literally, Zilla's had 13 matches, and I don't know how many of them have been with GCW. 9 of them, maybe 10 of them.
including a
So-
Punjabi prison match.
Yeah, including a Punjabi prison match. So,
Speaking
mean-
of which,
yeah.
sorry, just real quick. I just want to know, were him and Jacob going to win the tag titles before Jacob got signed, or was VIF always going to win? Just out of
Well,
curiosity.
I could never answer that because I don't know the answer. Were they going to win or not? I don't know. They would have to win the match to win the titles. But
Fair point.
uh,
That's a total
You know,
Brett
I mean-
answer. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
I love
Mhm.
it. I love it.
But I mean, I think in terms of Jacob and Zilla, honestly, unrelated to the answer to that question, I think we were obviously just getting started, you know. But props to Zilla, you know, and I'll say this too, like I don't have to like hide it, like, you know, I thought we would have to like protect him, you know, like he needs to be with Jacob, and we have to like, you know, ease him in with tag matches and have him in there with like, you know,
Yeah, the
veterans
best,
or whatever, people that could help him out.
Yes.
But it turns out he doesn't need shit. He's got it. He figured it out. And he doesn't need a tag partner. He's ready to go.
It's certainly a world of difference from now than it was when he first came around.
Oh yeah.
When he first came around, I remember he was in Rochester with us, right?
His first show was Tampa.
Tampa, Royal Rumble weekend. But like, I feel like he was like in the fucking garbage plate spot with us.
Yes.
For some reason, yeah. And like I remember thinking that, I'm like, damn, like I don't know, like this guy seems really, I don't know, but like in the 3 months since then, I'm like, holy fuck, he
You
figured
can see
it
the
out.
confidence.
Well, I think also, you know, Zilla literally went 0 to 100. You know, before he started working with us, I mean, he had no point of reference. You know, like he only knew like what he would hear from, you know, probably his family. You know, and like, you know, this is how it was when this is how my dad did stuff. You know, so like that was probably his only point of reference. You know, he probably had literally no idea what to expect. And you know, in reality, he probably didn't know much about GCW. In fact, I'm almost positive he didn't know much about GCW. I think the only reason that he ended up with us is because Jacob told him, "Yo, these dudes are legit, and this is where you want to be." Because the difference in, I guess, giving more to what you just said, the difference in the first time I talked to Zilla and the time that he finally took the booking, because I tried a couple times and he actually said no a couple times, and I think it took him a while to realize, like, no, this might be for real, and like I think I can trust these guys. So yeah, I mean, he has come a long way in just a few months, and yeah, just kind of figuring it out on the go, and we're literally scratching the surface.
Yeah, because honestly, I'll just to back up how much he's got it. One of the hardest things in professional wrestling to master is timing. The timing with which Zilla Fatu has been able to hit his finish in a variety of ways over the course of the past few months is really good stuff. You like that, like you can't teach that level of timing. Like case in point, the one that he had against Cole Radrick.
Yes, the into the springboard.
Yes, that was just like you could not have timed that any better.
Right.
And that's something that like you either have or you don't.
Yes, that is correct.
And it's one of the most difficult things for you to have as a wrestler, and I've seen him break it out of enough positions that I'm like, man,
it's in his DNA.
He's he's in tune with this shit.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Brett, are you having the wrestlers check in with you when it comes to questionable spots? I just have to ask that because I know it's the independent scene and we've got some wild ones. So I'm just kind of curious.
I do my best to stay on top of things. You know, it might not be me personally that's checking in on every match, but if it's not me, then I have somebody else who is. And I mean, we have a basic guideline, you know, for GCW on like the do's and don'ts. But, you know, of course, that's not everybody. I'll say this, maybe not everybody remembers every time. So, you know, there's always people that check, you know, and I think we do a pretty good job of staying on top of it. But every once in a while, I mean, clearly there's some folks who didn't get the memo, and, you know, you might see things, you know, things happen that I don't love. And, you know, sometimes those things can be corrected on the go, and sometimes they have to be discussed after the match, and sometimes they're a big deal and sometimes they're not. But, you know, like I try not to meddle in the matches if I don't have to. You know, everybody that's wrestling in GCW are here because I think that they're good, and I trust that I trust their abilities, and I believe in them as performers, where like I don't have to be up in their business unless there's business to discuss. You know what I mean? So, so, you know, yeah, I mean, outside the basic guidelines, you know, it's, you know, I mean, we have our unwritten rules and our written rules, and, you know, for the most part, people are pretty good about it.
You know, I feel like it's like the same way I was when I was doing Dojo Wars. Like, leave it up to the wrestlers to wrestle, and if I see something I don't like, I'll tell them afterward. Like, but at the same time, like, there will be these ground rules. Like, please do not break these ground rules. But I leave the rest up to you, and if I see something I don't like, I'll let you know about it.
Yeah, I've noticed that there are quite a few times here and there where you come down to the floor to take care of a match. Now, is that just to make sure, hey, don't bring it to the crowd, or hey, this is a little more dangerous, or hey, you know, what are you wanting to really, you know, what are you really wanting? I mean, if, taking control of down there?
If I turn up at ringside, that means that I mean, yes, that means I'm concerned, and it means that the message that's being passed is not being received. And I think that it's, and I think that it's an important enough.
Shit is about to happen,
and that means that means whatever message I was trying to send is important enough where I may have to deliver it in person.
Understandable.
Frank said, "Rule 1: don't break the chairs."
Well, don't break the chairs is a good rule, but I would say the real number one rule that makes me most nervous, and that the best chance to see me, the number one reason why you might see me at ringside is if light tubes end up outside the ring. That's usually an express lane for me to appear instantly at ringside.
I was about to say that makes sense because that time Sonic was getting a little wild. I remember you like ran past.
TOS weekend was pretty crazy for that. I know. At one
yes, that is correct.
Time, at one particular time, that was pretty nuts.
At what point, have you ever had like a time where you felt like you've lost control of the show, like you totally had no control to get there, or shit has gone off the rails and you have to get it back on? Like, what's been like that kind of moment?
I mean, I feel like for the most part, you know, we're in a position where if shit does get off the rails, we can usually get it back on the rails. I mean, if we can't, then that means something's very wrong.
Seriously,
professionalism
right. Wrong. Yeah.
Right. But
somebody's hurt or somebody has committed a crime.
But there have been times where people have I don't want to say defied what instruction that was given, but perhaps ignored warnings might be a better term. And I'm speaking literally and particularly about G Raver's injury against Jimmy
I was
Lloyd in
there that
Chicago.
night. Yeah, that was something else.
Right. So they literally had discussed that spot with me, and I told them, this is dangerous. Don't do it. It's not worth it. And very clearly, don't do it. It's not worth it. Do something else. And they had said to me, whatever. They gave me the, okay, fine.
Oh, it'll be fine.
Well, no, like the okay, fine, we're not going to do it. And then, sure enough, I saw the ladder roll out, and there was the light tubes, and it was, of course, slow motion. Like, what the fuck are they doing? And then, sure enough, up goes G Raver, and down goes G Raver, and he almost died. And aside from being very concerned about his well-being, I was, of course, furious about that. Like, very angry. I literally told you guys that this was going to happen, and you didn't listen to me, and you did it anyways, and this guy almost died.
Especially after the first time they did it in New York, like that was a pretty crazy spot. The first time I saw it in New York too. That's why when I saw it with the light tubes on top, I was kind of wondering what was going on in your mind as that was going on.
No, that was brutal. I mean, it went from, because G Raver came right to the back, and my first instinct was to yell at him. My first instinct was to yell at him, and then I realized that would not be productive because he was dying. So, it went from yelling at him to yelling for somebody to take him to the hospital immediately. And, whatever there was.
What happened? How did he get injured? Or what did he get injured?
Well, they tried to do a move that was already a very high degree of difficulty at the top of a ladder, and then they threw light tubes into it. And, essentially, there was a botch, which directly led to Raver of basically getting stabbed by light tubes. And tendons were severed or whatever, arteries or whatever it was.
Yeah, it essentially like
it was the generic brainbuster.
Jimmy goes to brainbuster him on top of the ladder. There's light tubes. There's light tubes attached to the top of the ladder perpendicularly. And then when he collides with the light tubes or whatever upon impact of the brainbuster, he gets basically the Nick Gage Tournament of Death thing, but on a ladder, and then comes down and he's bleeding out. Essentially the same way that
blood was immediate. The trail of blood to the back is burned into my mind.
It was like what happens when somebody gets shot and they're leaking out dark blood. That's what it was. That's the blood you don't want to bleed out.
I mean, we're all
the darker the blood.
And we watch violence and all this, but I still can never go back and watch that clip ever again.
No, it's tough. I mean, there's definitely a fine line between what's entertaining and what's alarming, and that was alarming.
Yeah, I knew right away that did not go well, and he needed to get the fuck out of there.
To this day, he's lost, the use of that hand. Yeah.
What?
I mean, he lost his career for years.
Was it like nerve damage, right?
Yes, basically. He literally was unable to do his real life job because he couldn't use his hand anymore. He was a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
And you have to have two hands to do it.
Too steady.
So, right. So, I mean, he literally, he lost his job for years. I don't know how he figured it out now, what he's doing now, but he was unable to perform.
Speaking of Jimmy, how cool was it to have the match he had? I think it was after the last time you guys were in Detroit. That match, I guess, is being filmed for like a documentary or something. How cool was it to get to do that and whatnot?
Well, what? I'm sorry. Repeat that again, real quick.
So,
the A24 guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The A24, the match.
Like,
Oh,
how
you
did
mean
that
like?
come to be? And like,
Oh, okay.
how big an opportunity was
Harpos.
that to have it happen after one of your shows?
Yeah, when you say documentary, I sometimes I need you to specify because there's been a few over the years.
Okay. Sorry,
So,
my bad.
but
the A24 guys were with us earlier this year in Detroit with the
mhm.
Jimmy Lloyd Raka thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into too many details yet because I think they want to keep a lot of the details under wraps until it's time to talk more about it. But basically, they already knew Jimmy from they had crossed paths years before. Jimmy and Raka actually wrestled a death match at Horror Slam in Detroit a couple years before. You know, at a show that
Wasn't Raka dressed as Ronald McDonald for that show?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And I was there, and it was totally reckless, dangerous, and insane. But you know, at the time they did it for their YouTube channel. But I guess, you know, it's stuck in his mind as I don't know, I guess well, whatever. They maintained a relationship with Jimmy over the years, and when it came time to do this project, you know, they started with Jimmy, and you know, it led to GCW. So
that was nearly 3 years ago. That match that they had in Detroit.
Sure. Yeah. And
in 2021.
Yep.
Fucking hell.
Yep. But this is real. This is a real project. This is not you know, this is the real deal. This will when you see it wherever it appears, this is not like some guy with a camera saying, I'm going to make a documentary. This isn't like shoot interview. This is like a real documentary that they're doing about deathmatch wrestling.
That's awesome.
Is there like GCW
they put in the
specific?
miles. They put in the miles.
Oh yeah, and these are professionals that make professional documentaries. So
I've never seen cameras like the kind these guys have.
oh no, and they've captured some footage. They've captured footage. They came with us to Japan.
Yep.
Yeah. So they've got footage. I mean, I asked them jokingly, like, "Hey, could we like stream using your cameras?" They're like, "You know, these are $250,000 cameras." They have shot death matches in the quality of footage and the style of which nobody will have ever seen a death match before. And when you get to see it, literally, I mean, like when I looked at it,
or did they film with other companies?
no, almost everything has been at GCW. But like I've seen some of their footage on the go, and it's truly incredible. Like I'm watching it, and it's like totally different from what you're seeing on the stream. And that's not a diss on our stream. It's just because what they're doing is so far advanced and it's just literally seeing it in a different light and seeing their finished product, I think is going to be, well, very cool to say the least.
Really.
Yes.
Like you got to remember, like they work for A24. Like they just put out that fucking Iron Claw thing. Like it's a legitimate movie production company.
Yes, this is a movie studio. This is a production company. This is real deal.
Like, their equipment.
They don't do shit. They don't do shit. They're not coming to our shows to fuck around. They're coming for a reason.
They're not coming with camcorders to shoot skate footage. Like they're coming with literal Hollywood level cameras to capture what we do and have done in a number of places
and they're
all over the world.
and they get it. They're respectful, they're appreciative, and they've actually, at least the brothers, Raka Raka and his brother, there's actually two of them. They're actually very passionate about it. So, like, I have no worries.
Why
Yeah,
else
I
would Raka Raka put himself through that?
right. I have no worries. I have no worries about the way that they'll portray death matches or the deathmatch community. And the reason I bring that up is, when David Arquette did his movie and his documentary, and he filmed at GCW, I was real worried, and people told me I should be worried, and I shouldn't sign off on the footage because he's going to shit on us and he's going to shit on death matches. It turned out he didn't do that, but he was very angry at the time with how things turned out. There was a lot of emotions, and people said, you shouldn't give him the footage and don't sign off on it because he's going to make GCW look like shit. And I was really worried about it for a while. And I mean, we ended up talking a lot, and that's a whole other story. But I mean, we came to an understanding where I trusted that I could sign off, and and he was true to his word. I mean, he did not make us look like shit. But anyways, I have no concerns about how these guys, the A24 guys, are going to portray the GCW and the deathmatch community at large.
I was in the David Arquette movie for a split second because I was at that show too.
That was a real crazy one. That was insane. That was very crazy.
How was that shitstorm backstage after that one?
Well, so there wasn't much of a shitstorm backstage because literally, Dave Arquette, he went from the ring to backstage where he was joined by Luke Perry, Jungle Boy's dad. Luke Perry came, grabbed a towel off a chair or something, put it up to Arquette's neck and said, we got to go, and literally ran him out to his car and fucking sped off.
Wow.
There wasn't much of a scene because he fucking took off out the back door and sped off.
Wow.
And meanwhile, it's like you're tearing down the ring to do a no-ring show right afterwards.
Yeah, so actually what I remember, so there was one brief, there was actually one brief little incident on their way out. As they were walking through the parking lot, and as they were walking through the parking lot, John Stauffer, our t-shirt guy, was standing right outside. He was in the parking lot, and he said to Arquette, can I take a picture? And for 1 second, Arquette turned to him and like posed with his hand on his neck, and it was like whatever. It ended up being like a famous picture, like the TMZ used and shit. But
it was on T-shirts.
Yeah, but Luke Perry came over to Stauffer and tried to like smack the phone out of his hand. Like he thought it was like paparazzi or some shit. And we were like, no, he's one of our guys. But Luke Perry didn't know who the fuck he was. And he was like, he thought it was like some dude trying to take a picture of somebody dying from a car accident, But we were like, no, he's one of our guys. And he was pissed. And then he just threw Arquette into the car and they took off.
That's insane. I was not there for that, so that's an incredible story.
There was so much happened at that show. The story behind that show.
Yeah, the Marco stun injury.
There was 2 people broke their leg on that show.
Yes, that's right.
Jesus.
On the no ring show afterwards, there was a big dive.
That's not a good show to talk about.
Emil, Pat. You remember Pat? Pat, Emil.
Oh, yes.
Pat broke his leg also.
The dive
he was catching
Facade.
Yeah. Facade.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to put it out there like that, but yes.
Well, it wasn't. Listen, it wasn't. You can't even say it was Facade's fault. It was a guy jumping out of the fucking thing, and it's easy to break a leg if you don't know what you're doing.
High ass ceiling.
Yeah.
I mean, Pat was not qualified to be in that position anyways, but that's a whole other story.
It's called high risk.
Not arguing with anybody.
Yeah, but anyways.
But yeah, it's that was
another thing.
I would not have done that. I'll tell you that.
Right. Another thing. So the hi-hat where that took place, that wasn't even supposed to be the venue for the show. It was supposed to be at the Avalon.
What city? What town?
Los Angeles.
Okay.
It was supposed to be at the Avalon, which is a famous, like, historic nightclub, theater type place.
Wow.
And a couple weeks.
Yeah,
I don't know the exact timeline. A couple weeks before, somebody called the Avalon and said that we have criminals on our show and convicts and bank robbers.
Oh my God!
I know who.
Jim Cornette.
Nope. Now I know who it is. Now I'm not gonna. I can maybe give hints, but that's aside from the point. Enough. They said enough to the point where the Avalon was spooked, and they called me and said, "We can't be associated with this. Unfortunately, we have to cancel your event." And then we moved it to the hi-hat, and then that show, the hi-hat, almost canceled us as well because whoever called the Avalon, I called the hi-hat and went with a different story, and I'm not even going to tell what it is because it was so dangerous, the story they told. It wasn't not something funny, but it was something that was there's certain lines you don't cross, right? Like when you're like talking shit about a competitor or somebody you don't like, and this person that called the hi-hat got very desperate. I'll put it like that. And the hi-hat called me and said, "What's that?"
Sorry to the listeners on here. I'll hear the story this weekend in Texas. You guys won't. It's fine.
So somebody said something that was really rough, and hi-hat called me and said, "Hey, we've got this person calling and emailing saying this about a certain performer, and I don't think we can be a part of this." And I had to like really call in backup, and luckily I knew somebody who was close with the person with the manager at the hi-hat, who was able to step in and say, "Hey, listen, this is a rival or somebody else in town who does not want this show to happen," and we were able to kind of smooth it out. I in later years, well, around that time, people had told me it's probably this person, when I'm not going to name the name. And, over the years, I saw a pattern of this, and I realized it definitely was that person. And that person tried it again multiple times over the years at other venues with us and others. It's somebody who has a history in SoCal. I don't know. Anybody who pays close attention might be able to figure it out or might have an idea. But I don't want to name names, but they're not doing too hot right now. And I'll just say this. They were caught in the act.
Is a little
What's that?
shack in Reseda. The only building that comes to mind is a little shack in Reseda.
Yep.
That's the only thing.
A little old shack in. Wait, are you? What about it?
PWG is what I was insinuating.
What about PWG?
That's what they used to run.
No, it had nothing to do with that.
Oh, okay.
They had nothing to do with it.
Not who
No. But the person in question and people, they ended up trying the same thing about a year ago with the UCC, but they got caught red-handed because the person who called, they got caught red-handed because they called the UCC using their cell phone, and the UCC had caller ID, and the name popped up.
Oh, geez.
And the UCC called me and said, "Do you know a person by this name?" And I didn't recognize the name immediately, but I went on Facebook and I typed the name in, and it came up as this person works at this company, and here they are, and it was right there, picture in the flesh, full name, busted, and I called this person out. I said, if you don't call the UCC back right now, today, and tell them that you made it up, and that you're a competitor and you got carried away, then I'm gonna go and I'm gonna call up Wrestling Observer and Sean Ross Sapp, and I'm gonna tell everybody what just happened. And the person tried to deny it for a second, and then I would never do that. And I said, listen, dude, I know you're lying. This is your phone number. You called the UCC at this time on this day. There's a voicemail. There's a this. And if you don't go and make this right now, everybody's going to know about it. And luckily, they admitted to it and went and called the UCC back, and the problem was solved. But that was when I realized it all came together in my head. Hey, all those years ago when people told me this particular person was the one that called the Avalon, it probably fucking was.
Right.
Now, could there be something legal from that, since you're basically trying to stop somebody, sabotage someone from earning their income from
It could potentially be, but the thing is, lawyers are very expensive and it's a long process, and you have to prove damages, and then and then you might even win a ruling, but if the person doesn't have any money, what are you getting? You just wasted money on lawyers to get nothing.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I just want to say I am very excited for Backyard 6 next week. That's going to be fucking epic.
This is going to be the best one in a few years. There's some really good shit lined up that hopefully I'll get to announce maybe tomorrow if the graphics get done. But we busted out some good backyard talent for this one. So this will be a fun one for sure.
Hell yeah.
Good. My son was just asking about that, so that's good news.
And we appreciate that you gave a little heads up to the Patreon people. We appreciate that, man.
Yeah, of course. I try to as best I can.
All right. Anybody else have any questions?
All right. So I want to hear this from you. I've heard this from other people, but I want to hear from you. And I don't mean to go down another rabbit hole, but what's the deal, I guess, between you and like the people from like Beyond Wrestling or ICW or anything like that? You don't have to answer if you don't want to. I understand. It's kind of another rabbit hole, I'm sure. But it's something I've heard stuff from people about, but like, I don't know. I just want to know from you specifically.
What do you mean? What's the question? I don't understand the question. What is the question?
I guess more or less, is there any like beef there? Because like I've heard things. I've had one person tell me stuff.
Beyond Wrestling?
Like either with them or like DeMonto with ICW or anything like that.
Maybe IWTV or something.
Oh yeah,
Well,
IWTV, that would be
IWTV tried to sue me for $500,000. So
Jesus Christ. Holy shit.
But
that's crazy.
They got $0. But I mean, it's a long story, probably for another day. But the short story is, the people who own that company were the closest thing that I would have ever had to. They were the closest thing I would have ever had to a mentor in wrestling, or probably the longest term friend I ever had in wrestling. And it was somebody who I was loyal to. Well, I don't want to go too far, but the bottom line is I was very good to those people when GCW blew up, and I didn't have to be. And they ended up
stab you in the back.
Yes. And
not working out.
Yeah. And it was very, it was probably one of the most disappointing things that I've ever encountered in wrestling, because that was I thought that relationship was going to last forever, and unfortunately it didn't.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Do people get older and change? Never say never kind of thing.
Well, I don't. I don't know that there would be any purpose behind that. I don't walk around every day and wish death upon these people or anything like that. But you know, I would never go out of my way to do a favor for them. I would, you know, I have no reason to, and you know, nor do I think they would ask me. Well, actually, they did ask me. Maybe 2 months ago.
Oh.
They asked if they could use footage for Tony Deppin's Life of Whatever on IWTV, and I said yes. So actually, I did do them a favor. So whatever, I really did the favor for Tony. But the bottom line is, I don't think there will ever come a situation where we'll be doing business again. You know, I just don't see a scenario where that would ever happen.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good answer.
I know I said I was hyped for Backyard, but I'm also just as excited for the return to Rochester. That's gonna be pretty good.
Yeah, well, Rochester is A-town, as you know. So
that was a great show. Do you feel that delivered like you wanted it to? Because I know that was really
Yes.
important to you.
Yes, and it will always be important to me. And no, I'll definitely be bringing the A team again, and A team for A town, and yeah, looking forward to it. Probably be, I would guess, tickets will probably be coming in a few weeks, probably.
I think we did it, guys. I don't want to make everybody wait too damn long. We did it. Normally we go about 2 hours or so. We did almost 3. We normally have 600, 700, 800 listeners. We have almost 1,300. Thank you so much for that.
Holy
Awesome.
shit.
Yeah, man.
Amazing.
And then we'll double or triple those numbers in about 24 hours tomorrow. So we have
That's great
listeners because of GCW. Truly.
Well, thank you guys for doing this, and for yeah, just I guess spreading the gospel of GCW. This is you know, I don't get a chance to follow this as much as I would like to, or as much as I should, but it's very cool to know that this is a thing and that you guys are doing this and doing it well, it appears. So that makes me like you know, that makes me I mean, it's very humbling, actually. So thank you guys.
Thank you for coming on, man.
Yeah, you do a lot to make us happy. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of us are wrestling fans, and your brand especially, that comes from the heart, touches us. So that really does matter. I mean, you got full-grown men like he and I in our 40s that, you know, we sit down and we bust our ass to
Hey,
make
calm
sure
down on
that,
40, man. I got a couple more years. Give me a couple more years.
He's 26. But, you know, we didn't see a lot of, you know, we were kind of feeling dry between weekends sometimes. So we just provided this because we felt like there was a need.
Hey,
so be it.
So right on cue, my 18-month-old son is waking up, so I got to run upstairs and pass off a bottle. But thank you guys, and let's do it again sometime.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for your
sir.
time, man.
Yeah, see you guys.
Later.
Oh my, what an
Wow.
evening.
That
We
was
lost
awesome.
Emil in the process too somehow. Oh
He
my
said he was
God.
leaving like right before he did.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
okay.
I was just coming back.
Meanwhile, Stackhouse is here just vibing along.
Stacks!
I'm just
Bro.
hanging out,
man.
man. I'm just
Okay,
hanging
so
out.
let's talk to Sam for a second. You have been on fucking fire. We love you. The fans have now completely picked up on it. You and Fuego are an absolute fucking unit together when you want to be. The floor is yours, brother. We fucking love you, man.
Real fast,
Oh.
Fuego, we do have an opening. So I know last time we talked about getting you in here. If you're still in here and want to hop on,
Oh,
send
yeah,
John
shit,
or me a
Fuego.
message
He's at
and
the
we'll get
gym.
Fuego on here.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, bring on
I was just
Fuego.
texting him a while ago. So I told him that because he was texting me, but I told him to hop on, but he's at the gym. I don't know.
No. I've seen him, dude. I've seen him sit there and do reps on Twitch. No bullshit. I'm gonna get a hold of him right now. I'm getting a hold of him right now.
Man, it's been cool. That whole weekend, last weekend was wild. So that was great. It was intense. I did not expect that big of a welcoming and stuff there. Because especially in LA was dope too. Because I've only been to LA. That was only the second time I've ever been to LA in my life. And the first time I never even went in. I just drove through there because I was a truck driver. But yeah, it was a dope weekend. And then Phoenix was absolutely crazy, and then getting to wrestle my best friend was awesome. Like, I mean, I was super nervous because obviously wrestling twice in one day after I already wrestled on the other, but
And you got to feel Nick Gage.
I had to have more. Too. Yeah, that was wild. I filled in for Nick Gage and didn't get booed out of the building, which is an insane world that we live in. So I'm incredibly grateful. Like I told somebody, like when I was in the tag match, I was fighting back tears sitting on the thing waiting to get tagged in when they started doing that "We Want Stackhouse" chants. When Jordan Oliver and people like that are in the ring and they're chanting for me, it blew my brain. And like it still doesn't seem real. And I'm incredibly grateful for that. It's insane.
Yeah, I went ahead and shot a message over to Fuego. We'll see what happens. If you want to guilt trip him, feel free to guilt trip him really hard right now. Dude is here in chat almost every show, so he deserves to come on. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned earlier in private chat, Mance retweeted the stream announcement tweet. Imagine if we got him on. I doubt it's going to happen now at this late at night.
Not on this show, but yeah, down the road, absolutely. I'm looking to go through all the regulars. We're going to talk about that. I don't know if anybody noticed, but the Blake Christian one, I think he was going to do a little bit of character work, and then I think the interview just went too personal, and he's like,
my bad.
My bad.
Yeah, it was a one-on-one too, so yeah.
Yeah, that was the one I wasn't able to be here, unfortunately. We got Ivan on here too. I don't know if he wants to say anything or if he hopped on muted, but we do have Ivan, the GCW video editor here, and he did make our opening video too. So I'd give a shout out to Ivan, as we always do.
Yeah. Yo, what's up? Can y'all hear me?
How you doing?
Yo.
Yeah.
Am I coming in clear?
Yep.
You're coming in great, man. You know the rules. Just don't show your balls again. You'll be good.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Can we
again?
It's a joke. Use the word
Yeah,
again
like,
in that sentence.
It's a joke. I love Ivan, man. He's the best.
Sam, what did I just walk into, man?
I have no idea. I don't know.
I tried to get you in
until
here.
You got here, so I don't know what just happened.
I tried to get you in here as quick as I could, Ivan.
No, I'm just chilling. I'm working on worst behavior promos right now, so I'm gonna be up till like 3 a.m. anyway.
Sweet. Yeah, we really appreciate that intro you gave us. It's just awesome.
No, thank you, man. It was super fun, and it's nice to have a palate cleanser every once in a while because I just 2 to 3 videos a day, all promos. It's nice to a 30-second intro. This is nice.
I was so happy when you said you'll be able to do that because I thought you were looking for just like kind of wrestling videos only. So I'm like, you got any room for a podcast in there? So
you caught me at
awesome.
Just the right time because this July, oh my god, I'm not gonna be able to sleep. It's gonna be nuts, but I love it. I'm excited.
Well, your hard work fucking shows in all the things that you do out there, and it was enough that as podcasters, we're like, dude is fucking awesome at videos. So.
Yeah, and then we got to meet each other in Phoenix. That was cool.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. It was so I was looking forward to seeing you anyway. You're nice as hell, so it worked out a lot.
Yeah, that was also the night that Sam was mean mugging me the whole night for some reason.
That is false.
Yeah, down the stairs.
I was just about to say that I missed both of y'all in Phoenix this time, but now I might have only missed one of you. You see?
So am I not getting a hug this weekend in Dallas?
I was gonna. What are you gonna be at Houston and Dallas, or just one of them? Where you?
No, I made that Houston Dallas trip one time and never again.
Yeah. How many hours?
So it was. Jesus, how much? That was 8 hours to Houston.
Yeah.
And then 4 to Dallas, and then 5 back home. That was never again. And
it's like 7.5 for me to Houston, and then the 4 back up, and then it's only like 4.5 back to home from Dallas.
I fell asleep in a Buc-ee's parking lot at 4 a.m. It was great.
Been there. I like Buc-ee's. I feel safe sleeping at a Buc-ee's.
I do too.
I feel safe and comfortable because I've slept at some very not safe places too. But I like a Buc-ee's.
As someone who lives in New Jersey, they just posted a Buc-ee's billboard in New Jersey, and I feel.
Does it say 700 miles away?
Yeah, yeah. It's like the closest one is like down in South Carolina or something. And I'm like, what a cock tease of a fucking billboard. It's like
that was the same day. That was the same night as Sadika Nick Gage, which is the second scariest match I've ever seen in person. And I was like, I got to get out of this arena. And I started trying to walk out, and I stepped in a puddle of blood. And I was just like, this is the weirdest day of my life. And then I fell asleep in a Buc-ee's at 4 a.m.
I've never been in more fear for Nick Gage's life than in that match. Even when he was bleeding to death in that one time, I was still more scared. I was still more worried for him. Sonic was crazy, brother.
Were you she's so nice until
she's super nice. She picked thumbtacks out of my back one time while she was bleeding.
Nice.
So she's super fantastic, but she's the scariest lady I've ever met in my life.
Were you at the Dallas show too? Whenever it was the second gear crew triple threat, and they couldn't light the table on fire.
Yeah. Because then AJ had to come back out and wrestle in the main event too, and got covered in more glass. It was insane.
That was a wild show, man. But also, for the record, Sadika, only the second scariest human being I've ever been ringside for. Number one, handily, Psycho Clown.
Really?
Terrifying.
I can see that, yeah.
Brett was talking about how he comes out to ringside sometimes. I was filming at Collective in LA, Gringo versus Psycho, and then I'm just in the corner, and then Brett pops up next to me, and that's when I was like, "Do I need to be worried?" Like
their first match they did in Dallas was wild too.
Yeah, when Gringo jumped
off the field goal post or whatever.
Yeah, it was an indoor like soccer field, but they had a touchdown like end zone thing, and
Wasn't
Gringo
that at,
jumped
like
off
some
of
sort
it.
of like CrossFit gym or something? And that's
Well, it
what
was like
they
a
had?
soccer field, CrossFit /
All I know is
it was just like a athletic place where people do athletic.
It's like a
things.
fitness
That's what it
24 or some shit.
Yeah.
It was cool, but it was cold as hell, and it smelled like shit. I did not miss that venue.
Yeah.
But that was a wild night, just in general. But yeah, Gringo and Psycho almost bled out, and then Psycho and that was the same night that Psycho and Wagner were like went into business for themselves and tried to book their own angle. Do you remember that saying?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah, where they were like mask versus career.
He was like,
motherfucker. I think I looked at Emil and I was like, "Oh, they're doing that." And Emil's like, "I have no clue." Like, this
for like 3 months after that, me and my
Remember
buddy
that fever dream for 3 months when Dr. Wagner was
doing that. Dr. Wagner.
There you go, Skittle.
Talk about somebody who's scary to film ringside. Wagner's terrifying.
Yo, yeah, that shit was crazy.
Get it, Skittle. Get it.
Yes, sir.
I gotta wake up Skittle. And then Chip has been the most polite so far of all of us. How you doing over there, brother? It's like what? 2 a.m. on the East Coast.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's
2 a.m. gang, and I've got work in about 5 hours.
That's
I don't give a shit.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I might actually be tapping out here, guys. But
we can.
Thanks
we
for
can
stopping
close
by,
it out.
man.
It's 3 hours. We can close it out.
oh,
You know what I mean?
I didn't want to. My fault.
You're
it's
the
late.
reason. We
No,
gotta
no,
end
no.
it because of you, Skittle. Damn it.
I was gonna end
God
it.
damn it, Skittle.
It's all my fault.
No, but
I
I
appreciate
skipped
everyone
the
you guys
people getting
coming on,
sleepy.
man. I appreciate everyone coming on. That was insane. Brett hopping on was not in my cards.
Yeah, Brett and the stories, and you can tell there's probably a lot more that he probably both wanted to say and shit. He was like, I gotta be careful. I don't need to ruffle any feathers.
Alan,
it's
Alan,
right
you asked like the question, like fucking about Beyond and
Daddy?
Yeah, like that's the question.
That was a good one.
How about we close this out real quick, Brant, and then once we go to the outro, we'll tell everybody goodbye behind the scenes kind of thing.
Yeah, that sounds good.
You good with that?
Yeah, everyone, thank you for stopping in. That was a record-breaking performance and very fun night. Got the man himself, Brett Lauderdale, on, and as well with all of our special guests. That was crazy. That was fun. That was a fun night.
Alan,
Yeah, we
thank
gotta do
you
this
so
again.
much. I honestly, we are going to be doing this again. This is just one of those things that it fell in our lap this way. My message to one performer got buried and he wasn't able to see it. So I'm like, you know what? This is for the fans, and that's what it's about. So I'm like, you know what? Let's get the listeners, let's get the podcasters, like all the people I talk to every day. And I'm like, let's fucking get everyone together and let's just talk it out like we're supposed to. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Next
time.
Every one of you are coming on again, 100%. I love y'all.
What's that, Chip?
Yeah, next I usually shoot with my boys. You know this, but it's
Yep,
too late for them, and I had my initial setup, and I didn't know my computer was that old to keep up with your technology. So
No, you're
I
good,
got
man.
a little shy. I got a little shy when the man was on himself, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna sit back and be quiet. And then I see Stackhouse is on, and Fuego was messaging, so I was like, holy shit, this is awesome.
Well, that's the thing. It's like Well, that's the thing. It's like I don't want to try to talk over people, but it's just like I'm like out of everyone here. Again, I have to reiterate, I'm the newest fan. Like I've only been into wrestling for the last like 3 years, so it's like I'm learning. I'm asking questions.
Yeah, there's a lot of cultural touchstones that people just know when you say certain words that you were just completely oblivious to, and I don't mean this, and I don't mean it in a mean way.
It's all good.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
It made me laugh when he was like, "What was the G-Raver spot?" I was like, "Oh, dude, that's like burned into my memory. I can't escape."
Dude,
Alan,
go watch it. You won't forget
blood
it.
is in my mind.
It's like I'm pretty sure I've heard somebody mention it, but I'm like,
was it
Two
no,
cup
no.
stuff? Two cup stuff.
2 cup stuff.
Black
yeah.
Label Pro.
Yeah.
And then they have a rematch at 3 cup stuff. Yeah.
And
Yes,
then they
actually
did the glass
redid the
ceiling.
slide.
Yeah.
Dude, you got him setting Jimmy on
The
fire.
glass
in
ceiling was before 3 cup stuff.
Was it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
no,
was
Glass
a
Ceiling
series,
was
man.
before, and
3
then
cup
yeah,
stuff
they
was the
did
last
the it was called the End.
Right, it was called the end. Yeah, I'm old and I can't remember shit anymore. So
Only reason I remember is I'm actually there.
Frank, you better be coming to my 21st birthday in Asbury Park, or you suck.
Ooh.
I have reasons, and I will talk to you off video about that.
There we go.
We're gonna send him out here, and then we'll send you guys out here afterwards. Thank you guys so much. Anything you guys want to plug before we send you out of here? Like plug away. Thank you guys so much for your time and hanging out with us.
Oh, Wildberry Pop-Tarts, they're the shit. I love you. Thank you.
Yeah, if you fuck with me, you can just look up my name anywhere. You'll find me.
Follow Game Changer
Just
Weekly
search my name
on all
YouTube.
socials.
You'll find the channel.
Game Changer.
I'll get back to posting more consistently there. Probably as soon as I'm done moving back into my dad's. You know,
Sweet.
Gotta move from one side of town to the other again. So
life.
Chip, anything?
Yeah.
Wrestle
Yeah,
Dads?
I mean, you can find everything at WrestleDads.com. I know I fucked up earlier in the morning, or earlier that morning. Jesus, I feel like we've been.
It's been a long one.
We're human, brother.
Actually,
so-
I'll be at Blitzkrieg Pro Luau this Saturday night. So if you watch IWTV, tune in. You will see me in the front row, having fun, losing my mind. So all the good
Stackhouse.
stuff.
Any upcoming shows you want to promote?
I'll be at GCW this weekend, and then I think I actually have a couple weeks off until I'm doing the GCW Louisville and all those. I won't be. I'm doing Louisville and then St. Louis. I can't do the Indianapolis one because I've got to be in Lubbock, Texas that day. So that's gonna be a weekend. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Then I'll be out there for I think somebody said the Asbury Park. I'll be out there for the Cleveland Asbury Park one too. I think me and Fuego, we're coming a homecoming now. So.
Hell
see a lot of me and Fuego coming up. So.
Last time you were out in AC, man, you got you were out that. I don't even know what I'm saying. Last time you were out in AC, you had some fire matches.
Oh yeah, and then I also got my face broken too. So
yeah.
that was dope. I had 4 matches that weekend too, and I wrestled 3 of them with half my face swollen shut. So it was fantastic.
Fuck yeah.
I also found out I was booked. I found out a funny story from Brett. I found out that I was booked on Twitter when I was sitting next to Brett, and he didn't say shit to me. Because I was there originally for the JCW show the next day, but I got there a day early, and I was sitting there, and then I got a Twitter notification and found out that I was booked. I was like, I should probably go grab my stuff. But he does that stuff. It's hilarious. But yeah, he does that. But yeah, that's I'll be a lot of GCW stuff coming up. So
yeah, I did not know
all that.
any of that. That's fucking epic.
Yes, sir. Yes,
More Stackhouse.
I knew you were going to be in Texas.
More Stackhouse. Yes.
Not on the East Coast.
Oh yeah, the Texas shows are easy. Well, I mean, I said that's still an 8-hour drive, but it's still easy. It's not like that LA trip was wild because we did Oklahoma to Denver was 10 hours, then Denver to LA was 16.5 hours, and then back to LA or back to Phoenix was like 6 hours, and then back home was 15 hours.
Did you go through Vegas?
We hit Vegas we went up to like Salt Lake City and then came down through Vegas. It was weird.
Hit me up. You could have had at least a chill place to just relax, maybe get a shower, fucking eat something real quick on your way. Every time people
we would have had to hurry because we left Denver at like probably midnight or something because we dropped Fuego off at the airport because he had a weekend too because I had a buddy from Oklahoma come named Logan Knight. Shout out because I wouldn't have made that trip without him. And Fuego flew to Pennsylvania to wrestle on Saturday, and me and Logan made that trip to LA.
For real, right?
It was insane. Can get some flies. I was almost like, do you know how expensive it is to fly to California?
See,
From
Sam's a road warrior. Some people might not know,
that
but
too.
he
Yeah,
was a
I don't
driver.
even mind it. Yeah, I was a truck driver for years, so I don't even. It's the 13-hour drive ain't even. That's not that much for me. Especially in Fuego, he can drive too, so we can split the drives up really well. So because on the way back it's 15 hours, but there's 3 of us, so we each show 5 hours, and it was easy peasy.
Oh hell yeah!
So,
nice.
but yeah, it was a crazy weekend, and like I said, I can't say enough how great that weekend was. It felt because like I was tired, obviously beat up from the road and the matches and everything, but it was fantastic. Everything worked out, and like the reaction I got in Phoenix in the first match. Nobody knew I was coming out the second time. I had just found out I was coming out the second time. Matter of fact, so nobody fucking knew. And then to get that reaction, and it led into me coming out again and getting another. It was just a perfect weekend.
Sam, I could speak for a couple people who aren't here in person, but B and John can both confirm this because they're in this group chat too. They went wild for you in the group chat because they were all sitting front row in the Phoenix show, and they could not praise you enough for how how hot that crowd was for you.
It was
that was
insane. And it came from nowhere. Like it was insane. It was insane.
Yeah.
Hey,
and that was also Mind Fuego's first singles match ever too, so that was pretty cool. To get to do it at GCW was pretty dope.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember we had you on the show, and you're like, "Nah, we've never tag teamed together," and everybody on our show was like, "What?"
It's the Phoenix. That was our first tag. That was the first like regular tag. We've done like 6-mans and like 8-mans and stuff like that, but that was our first like tag team together. And then we got to have our first singles match at Phoenix too. So I guess Phoenix is just it's our place. I guess
that's awesome.
Frank, outside of strawberry Pop-Tarts, you got anything else you want to plug? Blueberry Pop-Tarts.
I'm looking for prop comedy on the computer desk. I got nothing.
Okay. So there was something. There was something I was going to do with everybody if we didn't have time. I was literally going to do show and tell. I was going to have everybody just grab one thing and fucking talk
people
to me
in
here. So
give me 1 second.
Maybe next time you can see there's some good stuff.
Go ahead.
You said we couldn't show our balls. So I'm out.
My dad, bro.
Skittle, what you got, brother?
This is Angus. This is the centerpiece of my
Angus.
desk. He is a cow. He is fucking awesome.
That's what's up. I love it. Where'd you get it at, dude?
I found it in a box of my uncle's old toys.
That's killer.
When I was like 4, and I've had it ever since.
Nice.
Dude. Chip got something.
So we just went to an Enjoy show in Pittsburgh, and this is part of a door that they use in the cage match. And we got like Willow Nightingale and David Arquette's sister. I wanted to bring that up with Brett, but I was chicken shit to bring it up. So we got David Arquette's sister's signature, and Facade, who brought that up. We got him and his girlfriend and pretty much everybody on the card. So this was like something I wanted to bring up. This is an actual door used in a cage match at a wrestling show. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I wrestled Facade in my very first GCW match.
Really?
Yeah.
What show was that?
It was in Houston. The first time GCW was in Houston. The first Fight Club.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Houston versus Loco. Yeah, the first Fight
was
Club.
Was that Sadika Gage or Sadika Effie?
That was Sadika Gage. No.
I think it was Sadika Effie.
Yeah, that was Sadika Effie.
Yeah.
Was he Vampiro at that time?
Vampiro.
I think that's just his.
No. I know what he's talking about. That's his backyard name. Yeah, Vampiro.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just strictly his backyard name.
Yes.
Vampiro.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they get crazy names for the backyard shows. They kind of do like their old names.
Was that the show where Giancarlo was filming
Well,
like a
when
little
they
mini
have-
documentary about him too?
I don't know. Yeah, it was the first. It was like Facade is the first time he like met his dad or hadn't seen his dad in like 25 years or something. It was something crazy.
It was something.
That was like the first time his dad ever saw him wrestle at that show too.
Oh, cool!
And he got to see me throw him off the top rope to the floor. I felt horrible.
Wild show.
Yeah. Facade.
Ivan, you got anything you're pushing out there lately? I know you're working your ass off as always.
Well, if you want to follow the hottest thing coming out of the Oklahoma, Texas area, go follow @Sam Stackhouse. I joke with Sam, but he's one of my favorite people in wrestling. So
he's picking on me in Philly though. Kept bumping
again.
into me as well.
Again?
Listen.
Am I going to
it's
have to go over there and soften Ivan up again for you, Sam?
Again. Yeah.
Again?
No, it's all love. I love seeing Sam out on the road. You know, always a friendly face. Nah, man, just keep up with GCW. Follow the GCW YouTube page. That's where I manage that, and really upping the quality lately of like just the whole YouTuber all around. So
more motion match graphics.
That's not me. That is someone else. But they are cool. They are cool.
Yeah, I've noticed there's been a lot of posting activity on YouTube, and it's been a hell of a lot better. And it looks good publicly instead of just having like some dead YouTube channel.
Yeah, and thumbnails, all me. I'm trying to get good at graphic design, but you know, I'm a video guy, so it's hard.
You're doing great, man.
Thank you. I got to get a good Sam. Send me a good render of you.
Yes, sir.
With no balls. We have to say this to Sam all the time.
That's my thing. I'm all tits and balls. That's all I got.
Well, see, I said nothing about them titties, though. I'll tell you that much.
No, but my only other thing to plug
we need
is
Sam Stackhouse stress ball merch.
Yes.
I can make it.
But no, follow all the people in this chat. Follow Game Changer Weekly. Really good guys. Great podcast. Great product. Just all around. Really.
Also, B,
good
you'll
vibes.
see this when you check Twitter later. But thank you for the follow on Twitter. I appreciate that.
Oh,
Thank
of course.
you.
I realized I didn't follow like half those people in that chat. Like I see your guys' stuff pop up on the For You all the time. So I thought it was following you.
I was getting it a bunch lately. I thank people for following me a lot of the time. They're like, "Oh, I thought I'd already followed you." Like, yeah, I get that a lot. Thank you.
It comes from like if I'm on my For You and like I see your stuff, so I'm like thinking I follow you guys all the time because it always pops up. And then like I saw that group chat, I saw follow back. I'm like, holy shit, I got a lot of following to do. So now, of course, man, thank you for always following the show and every week hopping in here. And same goes for everyone else.
Somebody else's For You page. That's neat.
Yeah, you're on my For You page. So that's why I was like, that when I saw all those people in the group chat, I didn't follow. I went on to follow. It was pretty real fast. So I apologize about that.
All right.
Let's lock it out, and then we'll tell everybody.
Actually, I want to shout out one thing real quick.
Hell yeah.
July 5th, Grap House is running the coolest venue ever, Area 15. That is going to be something to watch out for.
Yo, I want to wrestle for them so bad.
What was that?
Wait, are they gonna have a no ring match in Omega Mart? Is that what I hear?
No, it's going to be the portal area, but it's going to be something. It's going to be full ring. They got a full card. Matthew Justice versus G Sharp. Sonico. Rico Gonzalez is making his debut. Casanova Valentine was just announced today. And then the weekend afterward, Pride Style is also running the next week. They got a 21 and up show with Dark Sheik and Anton Voorhees, Brooke Havoc. A lot of stuff happening in Vegas right now that, like, even before we get to Mania weekend, it's becoming like we're having a mini wrestling indie boom there, right in our city. And it's awesome.
Yeah,
I will say
a lot
for
of other
Blitzkrieg
promotions.
Pro's show this week so far, because people been asking about what the rest of the card's gonna look like, and they said they've had to switch stuff around. Paul Walter Hauser was supposed to be on it, but he had some scheduling conflicts. So what was originally going to be him and Paul London against the Shook Crew, Bobby Orlando and Bryce Donovan, is now just Bobby versus Paul because London, that is, because I think they said Bryce had a thing he had to go to as well. Miracle Generation defend, I think, just the Blitzkrieg tag titles against Legion of Rot, who we've seen in GCW. Logan Black against Akira in the Fans Bring the Pool Toys match, which is going to be a lot of fun. And then TJ Crawford defends the Blitzkrieg Bedlam title against CPA. And I don't know if they're going to announce anything else before the show, or they're just going to kind of let it ride and let everything else be a surprise. They want to make it huge. Last year, when they did the luau, which was my first, of course, I've only been in wrestling for a few years now, they, at the time, didn't know if they were going to be back at the venue that they're at in Connecticut because the place was getting sold to new owners, but they ended up getting to go back there earlier this year because, you know, the people that bought it were like, yeah, we want to keep the wrestling here. So Luau is going back. It's staying at home where it belongs. And I can't wait to see what the rest of the card's going to look like. But just off what's been announced so far, it should be a lot of fun.
Nice.
I mean, you know, if you're in a situation where you have fans bringing, pool toys and weapons of that variety, yeah, it's going to be nuts.
Are you
It's gonna be nuts.
doubting Akira's improvisational skills?
Yeah,
no,
how dare you.
absolutely not. I'm saying it's going to be nuts, as always.
Akira's the shit.
Akira's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you ever get to meet Akira, hopefully he has his dog with him because Coda is just...
I got to meet
Coda big dogged me. I mean, pardon the pun, but he completely big dogged me at Richfield Park a couple weeks ago.
I would do the same thing, Frank.
All right, let's rock it. Let's rock it out. You ready to roll?
Here we go.
Let's get out of here.
Long live
GCW.